Is it gonna work?
Is it gonna
Is
work?
it working?
Doing the thing?
It's
like the most common thing said on fucking any live.
It's true.
stream.
Are we live?
Does
Is
it
it
work?
working?
Does it working? Are
Can
we
you hear
live?
me?
There's this little podcast I watch from the guys who do Wisecrack, and at the beginning of every podcast, it starts like, we're going to go live in about 30 seconds, and it's them just talking to each other. It's like, yeah, so all right, so what we're going to do about this is like, oh, we're live. Fuck! Come on! Again?
Stop with the early fucking live person. I need to get a beer before we go.
Yeah.
Get it.
Too much further into this.
It's fine.
Oh, nope, I'm stuck on that.
So we're not gonna have a prelude this week, by the way.
That's good because the only thing I can remember doing this week was watching Cam.
I
Yeah.
watched a new show. It was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Did you watch Cam yet?
Not yet. Is it good? Is it worth it?
I've heard really good.
I tried to get people watch. I tried to get people to watch it in Colorado, but no one was in the mood.
So
Yeah, which is weird because I figured Celine would be like super into that.
Yeah, I
it's
figured so
definitely
too.
a thriller.
Maybe she'd already seen it.
But the best way I was going to explain on the show was this is a movie version or movie episode of Black Mirror.
Right.
I'll take
That's
it.
what you.
That's
Yeah.
I've been trying to avoid spoilers so I can enjoy it,
Mhm.
but a lot of people have been saying like, yeah, it feels like a 2 hour or whatever Black Mirror episode. And
Yeah.
It's really good. Just watch it. So.
Yeah, no, it's really well done. It's great acting. I have. Joel McHale becomes a superhero. Okay, whatever about that.
He's going to be on some DC show or something they're doing for DC Unlimited.
Who?
Okay.
Joe McHale.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
It's just Joe McHale.
So I haven't watched.
Okay,
any,
give
I haven't
me-
watched.
give me a beer.
I haven't watched any of Titans.
That one.
No, whatever you got in there, just surprise me.
Just grab something.
Yeah.
We have so much beer in there. Just grab something. So I haven't watched any of Titans yet, and maybe
Yeah, me neither.
maybe I'll do that over my week break that I got coming up.
Mhm.
I've heard that the bad guy at the end of the season is Batman.
Yeah, cool.
I'm just gonna unless you really went fourth tap.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard
Because
that.
if you don't like that, we'll switch it.
I'm sure it's good.
But yeah, apparently the bad guy at the end of the first season of Titans is actually Batman.
Who's playing Batman?
I don't know.
Fuck Batman.
Fuck Batman.
But apparently they're really riding that train, and they're like, yeah, we're totally going to just make Batman the bad guy for the season. I'm like, oh, that's a really weird choice.
Shit.
Like,
You watched the
I mean-
the crossover stuff. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh,
I haven't
you didn't?
watched it
It's
yet.
only it's only 3 of them.
I haven't finished. I fell asleep during Supergirl.
Supergirl's the last one.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is I fell asleep.
Mhm.
There's that one moment though.
I
I'm just
know-
like, God damn.
I got
this show's so
home.
good.
I got home from Colorado, and we woke up at like 1:30 in the morning to get on our plane. We were like
Yeah.
3 hours from the airport. Get up at like 1:30 in the morning, drive to the airport. It's like 4:30 in the morning. Flight leaves at like almost 7, like 6:45.
yeah.
We fly here. It's like 10 o'clock, and at this point, I've been up since last night. It's like 10:30, 11. I was like, Elseworlds.
Yeah.
I need to see what happens.
I'm playing catch up right now. I'm like one episode of each show right before Elseworlds, basically.
Did you see Legends of Tomorrow?
Not this week's.
Okay, so because they
I hear they make a joke about it.
yeah, they opted out and they make a joke out of it, and it's
Yeah.
the fucking funniest line in the like.
That was the one
I'm
thing I
imagining
did
it's
see.
something
Yeah.
about Earth's being stupid right now. We're not doing that. We're gonna go travel through time and do other stupid shit.
All right, so let's go ahead and do the
Very
episode.
fucked
We have an
timeline.
entire year to cover in a very short amount of time.
Oh
so
man!
I mean,
That's,
we've literally already covered it. We've literally already covered
already-
this year.
we-
Well,
already-
we're just getting the highlights.
yeah.
Oh my god, this fucking
Although we do have
record
that
is-
one
oh,
little bit of
shit.
like new news in it about the game unions.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fucking
Ooh,
hear it.
that's a great way to cap the year off.
Yeah, that's a
honestly.
really great one. So yeah, we're gonna
There's better options I could think of.
there are.
Even though there's people I like there, the entirety of Washington D.C. being blown up by a nuclear bomb from the U.S. We did it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Would be amazing.
We just accidentally just hit that button.
that'd be cool.
Sorry. All right, so let's jump into
I'm okay with living in Fallout at this point. It's fun.
It would solve so many problems, and we just let's consolidate over here with good people. We just pay very close attention. Anyone who says climate change isn't real, you don't show them the guillotine we made.
Yeah. Can you turn the camera just a little bit?
Oh no, I'm just
Yeah,
totally
you
out of frame.
you're-
Yeah.
You don't have you in the shot. Do you want me to move it while you're in frame so that I can you can see where you're gonna be?
neither one of us are gonna be in frame.
Yeah, but it's so much easier for me from the angle you're at.
I mean, mostly it's.
That's pretty good.
I mean, mostly because I sit way back here.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
I like to relax.
What up?
So we're going to LA, right?
Yeah.
I'll just fly into LA.
When do we meet you there?
Yeah. When are we going to LA?
Yeah.
'Cause I want to go. I want to go. See, James makes the most sense to fucking fix the thing because it doesn't matter where he's at. He's in the
James,
fucking
do
middle.
your job.
You got one fucking job to do.
And it's write the script. This is job 2. Do that also.
God, that sounds like our work life right now.
As management, it is my job to tell you when I've given you more jobs.
Yeah, exactly. If I get one more self-help book, I swear to God, I'm gonna choke somebody.
Oh, there'll be another one in February.
I know. All right, let's do
there we
this.
go. Ready?
Brooklyn, thank you for coming here and supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, and also we'll see you in LA. I want to go to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That I totally can't afford to go do, but I totally want to go do that. All right.
Was 2018 everything that we hoped it would be? Adventurers, pop the champagne for an all-new episode.
Why didn't we get champagne?
That's for the New Year's episode when we come back from break.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll totally get champagne for that. I'll have a lot left over from New Year's.
Yeah, it'll all be like super discounted, and we can just like buy boxes of it. Just
Like,
boxes.
you already know I can drink. We already did the Tony can drink a case of champagne.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get okay. Let's 1 bottle each for the episode. All right.
We did this, and I finished I think 3 during one episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that we had a challenge.
Was it like a
We-
3-hour
We actually
episode?
bought an entire box of Andre, lugged all my equipment, the equipment here, to my mom's like lake house, and set up there and did the whole show.
Okay, but no one had work the next morning.
No,
right?
Oh no! This is when we're working at HP, so we still had like another week off. We're
Yeah.
like we don't work for a while. This is what we do.
Let's get
All right,
fucked.
let's do it. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
I think for this episode, it's things that may have flew under your radar over the last year.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Very valid
Yeah.
point. I should have rewritten the script just for that
You had
segment.
one job. My job. We already discussed this in
All right,
the
we're,
show.
we're stopping the show and just re-recording the whole thing. I'm sorry, guys, that are in Twitch right now watching us. I'm sorry about that. And with us, as always, is our third chair host, Hector.
I'm back.
You are back from Colorado.
Colorado, yeah. I was way high up in
You're
the
in
mountains.
you were
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Rocky Mountain
we,
High,
we had
Colorado.
this cabin just super duper high in the mountains.
Yeah.
Where we smoked marijuana. It was great.
I like that you didn't even like try and like buffer that. You were just like, no, we were just
No, it's
fucking
fucking
high.
legal.
You were like, there's a Necronomicon there, but we were honestly too high to like really read it.
Oh, dude, I can't read like
Cyrillic.
Yeah?
Cyrillic. Yeah. I don't know why I'm.
You're so,
I was
like,
thinking
you're so-
Aramaic and Sumerian at the same time, and it just
They're
wasn't
probably all in there too.
getting in
It's
my
a very
head
old
correctly.
book.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, if you're new to our show, welcome. Normally, we are doing a bunch of just geek news that has happened over the course of the week, but this week we have a very special episode for you. It's our time of the year where we talk about all the great and sometimes horrible geek news that did happen over the course of the year that was. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com. We can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it is time for comic books in 2018.
Now I gotta go over here and click some shit. Yeah, if anybody wants to donate a fucking what's the Elgato to the show or
No, God, we need a Stream Deck.
Stream Deck.
Stream
It's
Deck.
It's
We have an
Elgato.
Elgato.
Elgato makes the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which got bought. Elgato got bought out by
Stream Deck.
no, the company Elgato got bought by somebody. I think they did. There was a company that was weirdly that they bought this other smaller company. I think it was
Got it.
Elgato got bought by Logitech. I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Or no, it wasn't Logitech. It was
Was it
the
Nvidia?
microphones. Yeti. Those
Oh, Yeti
microphones.
microphones, yeah.
Yeah. Logitech bought them. That's what it was.
Got it.
That's what happened this year.
Gotcha.
Not, Elgato still themselves. That's what I was trying to remember. I knew I'd get it right eventually. Editor.
Moving us down to the comics.
I clicked the button.
Good job.
I clicked the other button. Level 1 comic book news.
All right, so we're in the year in review for comic books in 2018, and I feel like the way that this section begins and ends almost really defines what it was like to be an American in 2018, and you'll understand once we get through the whole thing. So we'll start the year with Comicsgate. So Comicsgate was a air
a
quotes,
lot's happened, so you got to remind us.
air quotes
it's been a long
movement,
year.
right? And so basically what this movement in air quotes was a bunch of guys going online, and yes, I am prefacing that with guys, going online and saying that diversity was being forced into comics, that women were being hired over men, that white people were being forced out of the comic book industry so that there's more forced diversity. They called out Marvel Comics and said, you're doing all these like alternate versions of characters with, you know, a female, like a young African-American Iron Man. You've got a female Thor. This is all part of some social justice warrior nonsense. How dare you ruin the things that I grew up and I loved? How dare you make them not about white people?
Are you sure it wasn't you doing this? It sounds like you're very passionate about this, and I don't think it's acting.
James is a Russian bot, confirmed.
It's true, Russian bot confirmed. So that's what the whole Comicsgate movement was about. It was about insulting these up-and-coming young great writers in the comics industry, trying to tear them down and really, making the comics universe a whiter, safer space for young white men.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They needed a space so they could, like polish their snowflake asses, and
Right.
comics were, I guess, it. And we had no idea until someone started hiring not white people to do things, and they got really upset about it.
Yeah, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's one of those things that when the movement started happening, it got ignored at the forefront because everybody online was kind of mutually like, "This is a stupid idea."
Can we just it's not a movement. We're not calling it's not a movement. It's,
Right.
It's seriously dude bros being douchebags.
It really
Right,
is.
and the thing about that I love about this, in contrast to like politics, is somehow with all of like the super misogynistic, anti-women, LGBT people, you find a lot of women in these political movements. In stuff like Comicsgate and Gamergate,
it's just dudes. It's just white
I don't
dudes.
know if they didn't grow up enough to like find women to convince them of things, or however that works. I don't know what happened to all the women who were part of the GOP, like how they got there. But at the same, like for
We
some
are definitely
reason-
not that podcast.
No, for some reason they are there, but the Gamergate people don't have any. And I hope all that means is that this generation of women now, at least our age and younger, are just like, this is fucking bullshit. Why would I vote against my own interest?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. This entire, like, again, air quotes movement happened. I'm glad that we're not really having to talk about it much, and that we do have so many great things that came out this year because of the actual diversity, not forced diversity in comics. Like, let's talk about the comic Infidel real quick. That was released this year. We talked about it early on the podcast about how it was a short run series. It was something like 6 to 8 issues, and the concept behind it was about a Muslim American woman who moves into an apartment in New York City, and the apartment complex feeds off of xenophobia. Was the premise of this thing, right? It's that it was like the haunted house thing, except the fact that it feeds off xenophobia. This comic not only came out, was highly successful, went to trade, actually after this last week or two, went to trade and is selling out left and right. But also right after the comic came out, people started buying up the rights to the movie because they were like, this is going to be a damn good horror movie a la Get Out, and we
yeah.
have to make this.
I need it right now.
Now is the time that we have to do that. Like, it was a crazy year for comics. We had things like the DC Black Label, which was supposed to be DC's launch of their adult brand, where they were going to go ahead and like tell the more adult superhero stories that we've always kind of wanted. And then this thing happened. Hector, what happened with DC Black Label?
We saw Bruce Wayne's penis.
Yeah, we did. We saw Bruce. We saw the Bat Dick, right?
Yep.
And everybody who said all these comic book fans for years said we want more adult titles. You know, superheroes that are maybe willing to kill other people or willing to go to that darker side of things. We had this idea in our head. We want more mature storylines for our superheroes. But
I don't want to see a dick.
But the moment you put a dick in it, that's a hard line. That is a hard line when you put a dick in it.
I love this train right now. Just keep it going.
And it just blew my mind that it was such a fucking, like, how of all the things that could offend you.
Did that bat dick blow your mind?
Like, it didn't, though. It was actually a very reasonably sized.
No, like, whenever you,
no, but just like seeing it.
no, like,
that
when
part.
reading the comic, like reading it, looking at it there, and you're like, it's so, as you put it, aggressively average.
Yeah.
You don't even notice it.
It was
in the corner.
aggressively medium.
Here's the thing.
That's what it was. Aggressively
When it
medium.
comes to, and I don't want to get on a weird side tangent about this, but when you normalize the human body in art, you don't think about those things in a sexual context.
Yeah, there's a difference between
Right.
art and porn.
Like when you go and look at the Sistine
but some
Chapel.
porn
Well,
Can be art.
in other countries.
Right. But when you go to the Sistine Chapel and you look at the ceiling, you don't. The first thing that enters your mind isn't look at all those dicks.
Yeah.
Right. That isn't because the human body is normalized at that point, and the artist.
Yeah, I'll paint the
who-
ceiling. I'm
who
gonna paint
drew,
a bunch of dicks on it, though.
Right. But the person who drew Bruce Wayne at his weakest moment and showed him vulnerable both mentally and physically drew his anatomical structure in a very normalized way that if I think that, and this is my personal opinion, if the media had not sensationalized it, it would not have been an issue.
Yeah, could have been fine.
But all the headlines, because we're looking for clickbait articles, were look at the bat penis, and suddenly
Bat dick. I
everybody,
hear there's bat dick.
right, everybody
Yeah.
lost their shit. I think if those headlines had never happened, and it was
Bruce Wayne.
it was, and if it was treated normal, it would not have been a huge deal.
So I wasn't around for the Harley Quinn boob controversy, but it seems much more.
You've read White Knight, though.
Yes, I have.
Right.
Yeah, but I wasn't around for the controversy. And
There wasn't.
There
one,
was
because
no
there was
controversy.
There was no controversy because boob.
Yeah,
Right.
because boobs. Boobs are fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boobs are fine. Boobs are
Because
great.
only guys read comic books, and guys only want guys to write comic books, and guys want to see boobs.
And guys
not
want to
dicks.
believe that theirs is the only penis on Earth.
Yes,
So yeah, back when
according to
back when
Comicsgate.
White Knight came to trade paperback, because it was getting released under DC Black Label, they said, "Hey, there's this one scene. It's got some artistic nudity in it. Because it's under Black Label, we'd like to restore it because the comic itself
Literally
did not
just
have
moving
it.
the word bubble.
The comic didn't have that because there was no Black Label then.
Right.
So when they made the trade paperback, they did that, and nobody said anything about the fact that Harley's boob was out.
No.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. Neither does Batman's dick.
It
See, that's the
doesn't.
thing.
I'm
like, no,
happy
but you
that I
still-
saw it. The mystery's over.
One of the great things is, if I remember correctly, within Texas, a woman can go outside completely topless, but she has to start topless from like her house.
Austin.
You know,
it's specifically Austin.
Just Austin. Okay, so but you can't just take your top off like walking down
No,
the street.
no,
You have to
can't.
literally leave the
You have
house.
to have been topless the entire time.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know why that's the rule. Texans are weird.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a website that actually explain to you like county by county across the entire United States what you are and are not allowed to do topless.
Yep.
All right, so it actually was a big year for DC outside of Bat Dick.
Oh, dear.
Brian Michael Bendis left Marvel after years of being with them, creating the Ultimates line.
Creating all of the comics I'm currently
That
reading.
you're currently
And watch
reading,
and have been watching for the
Right?
last 10 years.
Yeah.
and went to DC Comics. And not only did he go to DC Comics, DC Comics said, "What do you want to do while you're here?" And he said, "I want to do Superman." And they were like,
Cool.
Yeah,
Aside from
checks out.
control everything,
Yeah.
Right.
also I want to write Superman.
But
Yeah.
like, I bet you they were waiting for him to, say like, I want to do fucking like, do something super obscure, like how you guys talk about like Moon Knight and shit like that.
Yeah.
I want to
Like Swamp Thing.
like the B and C characters. I want to make Swamp Thing badass. I think Swamp Thing's already badass.
Swamp Thing's always
it's
been kind of
questionable.
badass, and it's always been fun.
but
for
in like
people
a
who Swamp Thing.
Constantine Swamp Thing kind of way. But
Yeah,
like,
very much so.
he just went straight for Superman.
Yeah.
And like not even Batman, but like fucking Superman. Like not just iconic, but also really hard to write correctly.
Yeah, and all the reviews coming out are saying that it's one of the best runs of Batman that we've had in a very long time.
Superman.
Or Superman. Yeah, we've had it in a very long time. It's crazy.
I'm
Absolutely
super
crazy.
excited for it.
And so, yeah, Bendis left Marvel, went to DC. On top of that, DC introduces Dark Knight's Metal, which is this weird Elseworld comic, but actually takes place mostly in the main DC universe.
It was a crossover event to make a additional title.
Were they
Yes.
promoting Metalocalypse? Like, what was the impetus
The
behind?
premise behind it was
There's a
that
very gothy metal universe that crosses over with
that was the whole
main
premise
universe.
behind it. They were like, so we wanted to make this Elseworlds title that's a lot darker than the normal DC universe. Also, we listened to a lot of heavy metal while we did it.
Yeah.
And that's why they called it what it was. And he's like, yeah, there's actually a soundtrack on Spotify right now called, Dark Knight's Metal, and it's done by DC Comics, and it's all the music they listened to while they were writing this comic.
That's fucking awesome.
Right. And it just blew everybody's mind. You had the Batman Who Laughs, which is like one of the darkest stories, by the way, to come out of Batman for a long time. And that's saying something, because it's fucking Batman.
Yeah, Batman shouldn't laugh. He shouldn't smile.
Yeah, like the shit that happens in that comic is like so crazy. And the Batman Who Laughs just got his own like mini series that just came out this last week.
Ooh.
So Dark Knight's Metal is now it's back in its own Elseworld, but it came and kind of influenced the DC universe for like 5 seconds and then left. But the impression that it made was so strong that this series looks like it's going to be around for a while. And DC's just been killing it in the comic book marketplace. I mean, comic book sales, by the way, it was a part of the news this year, are up.
Good.
Since
Overall.
2011, I believe. This is the highest numbers that we've seen in the comic book universe.
Awesome.
But it's because of titles like this that are coming out that are challenging the status quo. That are
Marvel's
creating,
numbers actually started increasing towards the later half of the year
Yeah.
because they finally stopped with all the stupid crossover shit and normalized
Yeah.
their stories to where you could just pick up and buy a fucking comic without world-ending events constantly
It
happening.
seems like they're finally starting to get the hint, or maybe they had like one meeting with Kevin Feige, and he's like,
Stop it.
you guys know we're making movies, right? you know how many tickets we're selling, right? Maybe
do that.
maybe think about that when
Yeah.
you're just writing your stories.
So that's a good point though, because there were some really great highlighted issues that came out for Marvel Comics this year. Like Chip Zdarsky ended his run on the Spectacular Spider-Man with issue number 310. And this was a comic that honestly, Chip Zdarsky is one of the best up and coming writers that we've had in a long time. But
I would say this
also
is the best writer in the comic book industry right now.
his issue 310, which I did pick up and read. And mind you, I have not picked up a Spider-Man comic in years.
well, yeah.
I picked up his last comic on Spider-Man and nearly bawled my eyes out because it was so beautiful. Because it was
Dang.
about Peter Parker and the people that he influences on a day-to-day basis, for better or worse, and what happens sometimes when maybe an innocent dies in the middle of that. And not like a Gwen Stacy. I mean, what happens...
Just collateral damage.
What happens if that kid that you saved enters the system at some point and becomes, what you were worried that he would become? It's a very human story about Peter Parker. And it is probably one of the best Spider-Man stories to be told in a very long time. And it is a single issue
Wow.
that tells this story. And it's all about a documentary crew following around Spider-Man and wanting to make a documentary about him to release at some point. And it's very, very beautiful. But like you were saying, Marvel's really got their shit together when it comes to not doing the crossovers. We had movie influence going on this year. We had the rise of the Black Panther universe, right? We had both...
That was this year. That
both-
was fucking
both-
Wakanda forever.
both Shuri and
God damn,
Killmonger.
this year's been like so
Shuri and Killmonger both got their own limited run series, and there are talks right now that the Shuri limited run series might become an ongoing series.
Man, and I credit all of that to the strength of the casting for that movie and the strength of the writing for that movie.
And it's literally just the movie
No,
as a
just
whole.
the
Just
movie
as
as a whole. Basically, the director did such an incredible job putting everything together that they created new interest in comics, especially
There's
for
a character that was a B-list character. Black Panther's never been like at the forefront. He's
Right.
he's been part of the Avengers. He's done a lot of things. He's been there,
Right.
but never to the degree that now post the film has.
Yeah, and I think the most heartwarming thing about it took months and months and months, because Black Panther came out in February. But I remember reading a post right before Halloween about how there were a bunch of kids of all races about to go out for Halloween dressed as the Black Panther. And not just black kids. It's all the other ones that really matter as far as representation goes.
Let's call it what it is. White kids went out and wanted to be Black Panther.
For sure. There were tons of white kids out there dressed as Black Panther.
Yeah.
And how fucking cool is that?
That is so fucking awesome. I love hearing stories like that. Like, it's finally... I've been kind of saying the same thing about Captain Marvel, which is upcoming.
Oh, I can't wait for Captain Marvel.
When Captain Marvel comes out, I'm sure that if you go to a Hot Topic, you can find a Captain Marvel shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really want to buy one.
I want one too.
In the sense that up until this point, if a female comic book fan wanted to go out and buy a comic book shirt, 9 times out of 10, it always had to be either Wonder Woman or it had to be a male character.
Right, yeah, she wants to wear a Superman logo or a Batman logo, but I mean...
like they're forced to.
Actually,
Like,
they
that's
did
what
show
what
some
they're
of the
stuck to.
shirts coming up for that
And I'm like-
already. And there's this one that I really
Well,
want.
they're like
it's the
blue,
star.
the
Yeah.
blue, red, and gold with a Novacore
Yeah,
like
it's the
logo.
Novacore star on this like off to the side of it, and it looks awesome. And
That's
I'm like,
fucking awesome.
it's great. It is a woman's shirt, but if it fits me, I'm
I know,
fucking
I'm like,
wearing
oh,
it. And I want it.
absolutely
It looks
wear
good
it.
as
I'm wearing
hell.
a shirt.
I'm like,
or
all
hoodie.
y'all had to put up with like guys superheroes for this long. I want to fucking buy something and put support
Yes.
in now that we've got a strong female superhero on the screen.
Absolutely, I will rock that thing all winter long.
Absolutely. All right. So other things that happened this year, there was a new Sandman title that people are kind of heralding as kind of the second coming of the series. It's called The Dreaming. So Sandman's been has had about 4 new titles playing in that universe. Vertigo's really been messing around with
Okay.
the universe, but The Dreaming seems to be the one that people are kind of latching onto and saying, you know, it may not be Neil Gaiman, but this feels the most like Neil Gaiman's universe that we're playing in.
Yeah, because Neil Gaiman finished out his run whenever he did the prequel to Sandman. Which reminds me, I still need to actually buy like the last issue because I never did that.
Sandman Overture and Endless Nights are all very important.
Yeah, no,
so.
and part of me wants to pick up these Sandman comics because I do love the character.
I thought you
but,
had them.
I don't have the ones that aren't written by Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
Because that's the issue. Like,
Yeah.
I love Neil Gaiman's work so much. The idea of somebody else putting their
There's a-
stank on it kind of
No, I know exactly what you mean. When with the West Wing after season 4 ended was no longer written by help me out here. He also wrote The Newsroom.
I know.
Sorkin or whatever.
Yeah, it was written by Sorkin, and he stopped writing for the show after season 4, and I immediately stopped watching the show. I was like, I'm done. I don't know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way I feel about anybody else coming in to write Sandman, or whenever Lucifer came out, or they wrote Death. And I was like, I read the ones that were done by Neil Gaiman, and then immediately said no to anything else because
So
that's
now
not his
we
universe.
are seeing a resurgence in that universe, but a resurgence in that universe that he's supporting and backing. It isn't just like we're just trying to monopolize or capitalize on the titles that have already come out. Obviously, this year Archie Comics has been in full force.
Oh.
Between the main Archie line, Riverdale, Vampironica, Jughead
Sabrina,
the Hunger.
Fuck Chilling Adventures of
The
Sabrina.
Chilling
coming
Adventures
out.
of Sabrina is like the culmination of everything great about all of those, about the Archie comic universe in general.
Yeah, I mean it's all fantastic. Archie's killing it. They're going to continue killing it. That's fantastic. The service Inky Pen, which was a Netflix kind of subscription service, came out. And not only did it come out, but it actually went to the Nintendo Switch first.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So
Do you have a Switch?
right,
no, not yet.
right. So if you have a Switch, you can get the service.
Okay.
It's like Netflix,
Okay.
$10 a month.
Okay.
Boom, a shit ton of comics.
But like specifically, like Marvel, DC, what am I
Yeah,
looking at?
it's all
Yeah.
on there. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, there's
Oh.
a lot of it that is filtered because of, like, a lot of Marvel and DC have their own kind of subscription services.
Of course.
But they don't neglect this service. They say this is also a service that we will push to. You may not just have the day and date newest X-Men comic,
Right.
basically, right?
Okay.
Weird things this year. IDW started making Marvel comics.
That is
Yeah,
weird.
and that's a recent thing. Like that was it. That's like in the last month or so that we talked about.
Those
that.
were their
And
like
it's
kids
still
volumes,
weird.
right?
Right.
Like in grocery stores.
Right. So they did. So Archie Comics did
Archie Comics.
the mini ones for the grocery stores.
Right.
IDW did the Marvel Action series, which was written for a younger audience and was closer in scope to what was going on in the movies.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were actually specifically writing stories for you just went to the movies. Here's a comic book to
Yeah.
go with that, but it's written by IDW instead of Marvel.
And I
Weird,
like this
but-
idea. I think it's great. Anytime a Disney or sorry Disney. This actually no, doesn't that work? Anytime DC or Disney decide to say, "Hey, we want to make comic books for kids. We
Yeah.
want to make it accessible." I'm like, "Cool, awesome." Kids reading is never going to be a bad thing, right?
No.
Like just allowing them to read.
When kids don't read, you get the 2018 in politics.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And to kind
Words
of
are
piggyback on
bad.
that, DC put out trade paperbacks to Walmart just to get more people reading comics. They started putting out editions and single issues that you could only get at a Walmart. They were they were not the highest quality paper, but they were there
were-
for.
They have to go on a Walmart budget, which is that
Right.
Walmart will make
Right.
more money than anybody else out of this.
Right, but it was.
situation.
I went and just saw Wonder Woman. I can go into a Walmart with my kid and he'll find this really thick, amount of comics for like $5, and
You
that'll-
basically buy like a kind of not a collector's, but like a trade of multiple
Yeah.
different issues.
And you got your kid reading something he wants to read.
Exactly.
And that's great.
And this really has been a year of inclusion for comics. It's been about that. When we look at the IDW making the Marvel stuff, we look at what DC's doing with Walmart. With the exception of the beginning of the year, which was Comicsgate, we became about inclusion very quickly after
It was
that.
almost right after Black Panther, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
last year and into the beginning of this year, comics news was bad. Like it was almost all of last year. It was all just another crossover. Another person got fired. Another person got offended. Someone said some sexist bullshit, and then
Yeah, 2017 was really bad about
yeah.
that.
And then it was almost like just right around like February, March, all of the comic news was like, fuck, this is super cool.
It felt like Comicsgate was like the last explosion, right? It
Yeah.
was the last fuck you, we're going to try and make this thing happen.
Right.
And the rest of the industry went, no, fuck all of you
Yeah,
guys.
and then
Like,
everyone kind of just got their shit together.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said earlier, comic sales were on the rise since 2011. Of course, Uncanny X-Men #1 was a big part of that. Action Comics 1000, written by Brian Michael Bendis and a bunch of
Yeah.
other people, was all a big part of that. So that's fantastic. But then we end the year wrapping on a sad note, which was, of course, that Stan Lee, the head of Marvel Comics, died at 95.
He had a long life.
He
Cheers to
95. Cheers to Stanley, as
Yeah.
always.
And so we kind of begin the year like we end the year, which is kind of solemnly. But I feel like the middle of the year for comics really made up for it. There were
Oh, yeah.
so many great titles that came out.
Hey, I mean, do you know what happened this year in comics? I started reading comics again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people can say that because sales are up.
Yeah.
And
the,
that's
the stories are good. The
stories
fandom-
are great.
People are convincing their friends to come back and start reading comic books.
the
'cause
stories that people
a
have
lot
been
of people went
telling me
away.
are great for years and years. I'm finally getting to experience myself. I'm experiencing the ones that haven't been put to movie form or animated form yet. And all I can think is, where are these? Like,
Right.
like put these on a screen for somebody. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Oh yeah,
just wait till we let you. Wait till we give you lock and key. You know,
I was
you'll
gonna
just-
say once Lash give you lock and key. just
Oh,
wait.
yeah.
Yeah, go and get that. All right, that's everything we have for comic book year in review this week. We're gonna take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 2 video game news.
Could you get quieter on that, please? I'm gonna have to figure out a way to fix that at the end. 'cause literally, this is you saying the word news.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
it's,
just gonna.
It's so quiet. You mumbled that.
You don't have to edit that track. Then you just let it.
But this is me saying I gotta fix this fucking thing.
Just keep that in there. I think. I think you should just keep that in there. Who needs beer before we get started?
Lift my beer up and tell me while I've clicked save and shit because I can't.
Yeah,
see,
you
I
do.
can't see where
See
it's
if
at.
Aaron needs one.
Do we have a foursome? Does everyone need beer?
Um,
do you need beer?
I'm good.
Do you need beer? You're good. Okay.
Yeah,
You're good.
I'm good. So yeah, too.
Oh yeah, I'm at 2/5.
Fix it? No, we're not fixing it. It's staying in.
No, I'm not. I mean, I can fix it. I'm just gonna make it. It's gonna be me recording the line. Be like news at the very end of it. Like blatantly, this is not James saying that word. I just fixed this dialogue at the end. Doing bad voiceovers. I'm gonna have a Barton Springs.
Yeah, you are.
All right. They're not bad. So have you been? to
I
Uncle
like it.
Billy's?
Okay. I haven't been there, no, but I've drank a lot of that on a river.
Okay, so Uncle Billy's. It's right up here off Riverside.
Really?
Yeah. Next door was another place, but now it's a new Irish pub thing called Darcy's Donkey,
Nice.
and it's that place is fun. It's interesting. It's very new, so it doesn't have that like well lived in Irish pub thing going on.
Right, but
And
it
is
will.
from an Irish guy. Like he actually is from Ireland. He has his degree in like hospitality from like the University of I can't pronounce it because it's in fucking Irish. Yeah,
Loggin.
Saint Sebastian's School for the Disappointed Mothers or some shit.
God, why is everybody so racist against white people this year?
I think it's about time.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, I need to click some other shit, you fucking bitch.
Yep.
Video game news.
Video game news. Video games. But yeah, no, Darcy's Donkey's fun, and it's also got a fun name.
Yeah, that is
Like,
a fun
you're
name.
like, where are we gonna go eat tonight? Darcy's Donkey.
Holy shit. Really?
Yep. Go get me some shepherd's pie. Level 2, video game news.
Hey, Adventures, welcome back to the show. All right, the year in review for 2018 for video games. We're going to start on a high note for this one. Wow, Overwatch League began on January 10th.
Are you kidding me? Overwatch League began this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's been such a long year.
This is
Yeah.
actually something.
Which is funny because Overwatch League felt like it went on way too long.
It's true.
But it was a good half the year, I
They
think.
are actually shortening that for this.
They
next
are.
one.
They learned their lesson because it was the players just got burned out. The audience like left
I
halfway
could see
through.
the players getting burned out. I was still watching.
A lot of people did, but there was a distinct middle of the season.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. You're like, the beginning's awesome. The ending's awesome. The two middle seasons that are in
was
the
really rough.
season,
Yeah.
just nobody gave a shit about.
Yeah, it was pretty.
You know, it
rough.
was really strange because the Overwatch League was something that we had reported on as soon as it started, and we didn't kind of realize how it would fundamentally change our lives.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like,
Yeah, it's weird.
We went to watch parties, we met new people, we started a podcast.
I went to
about
go to
it.
fucking Blizzard's
Like,
offices this
we
year.
went to
Yeah.
Blizzard's offices because of Overwatch League. Like Overwatch League, like really changed our lives in a strange way. And to think that it was only January that this happened, it's
Yeah.
like, good lord, it just feels like it was much
Oh
longer.
my
than that.
god, so much has happened.
Yeah. Let's see other fun things that happened this year. Microsoft announced acquisitions of a bunch of different studios like Undead Labs, Playground Games, Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory. These were things that came out at E3 and said, so we're making first-party titles again, by the way.
They weren't even done after E3. They went and bought like 3 more studios
They did.
after
Yeah.
that. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep doing that.
What did they buy? They bought Obsidian.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so what? And we will talk about this more when we come back from break. We'll be back on January 7th. We'll talk about kind of our predictions for the upcoming year. But think about the idea that the reason why they bought this many studios is gonna come into play at E3 this year.
It's gonna have to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna come into play at E3 this year.
Well, they'll show us this
They're
year.
gonna hint at things,
Yeah.
but
They're gonna be like, here's all these cool games
guys,
we've been looking at.
That's for like that's from the 7th. That's for the 7th.
That's
All right,
We're not.
yeah.
We're,
All right,
we're
we're
already
not
talking
there.
about it now. We can't do that now.
Yeah.
Other big news this year: the Dota 2 International Tournament had the largest prize pool in esports history.
And will probably
$5.
remain as such for a while.
Yeah, like
I don't know. It was like a million or something.
It was
I can't remember.
It was like, what was it, like 20s, 30s, something like that?
20, 30 million, something like that.
Yeah,
It
I
was
want
not
to.
a-
If I
I
recall
was averaging
correctly,
25 million.
If I recall correctly, I want to say it was somewhere between 11 and 15 million.
okay.
for the team that
for
wins.
the team.
For
A
no,
team
that
of
was the
5.
prize pool.
Yeah.
Oh, the prize pool.
Which
so
means
that's
the winning
overall.
team
would get like
won about $10 million to spread among 6 people,
was
including
5.
the coach. Including the coach.
Right, coach, right.
Right.
and the company that put up all the money for them to
and
do
the
all the
lower
things.
like other 3 teams or 4 teams would end up with like somewhere between like 500,000 and like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You still walked away from playing Dota with a whole.
Now the
shitload.
League of Legends internet their annual like big tournament of mayhem prize pool has never been more than $1 million. It's always been what it's been capped at.
Right.
That's
so-
interesting that Dota 2.
Dota has a lot of
Well,
sponsors.
Yeah,
out
they have a
from,
lot
like,
of
I didn't know
sponsors
that.
and they crowdfund their prize pool.
Yeah, they do.
Which is so that's interesting. So as we started talking about Overwatch League and beginning of this year, to whenever the teams first came out, when Overwatch League came out, it was $20 million to buy into it, to make your own team.
Yeah.
and we know that number has gone up
30.
quite a bit.
Is it up
Actually,
to 30 now?
it started at 30 at the beginning
Yeah.
or the end of season 2, and it's gone up since then.
Yeah. So the way that the
We
difference
don't
is,
know what that number has gone up
is
to
that
yet.
the Overwatch League kind of has a cap out based on like how they go into their major tournaments saying like this is going to be a $5 million prize pool or whatever. Dota, the way that they handle it is that leading up to the Dota International, if you play Dota and you buy something in game, everything that you are buying, which is all cosmetic items and shit like that,
Yeah.
everything that you buy in game goes to the prize pool of the International. So if you went on
Oh.
the equivalent
Interesting.
is
That's
if-
interesting.
I was
idea.
wrong. It was 25.5 million.
There you
I
go.
literally said I'll average it to 25. Motherfucker, I was the closest one out of all of you.
Esports again are on the rise. This was the year that really proved that esports were on the rise.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, some bad things happened because of that.
Yeah, especially in
Can we talk
Overwatch
about- Can we
League.
talk about Overwatch League again for a second here?
No, actually, I want to talk about the mass shooting that happened in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I was gonna go with just people being racist and sexist dicks, but we have to go to murder
It
instead.
gets worse
It's
than that
different.
because
yeah.
they were actual murders.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were problems with the Overwatch League where there were racist and sexist people and they got booted. There were pedophiles that got booted.
It was almost all players. It
Yeah,
was all players.
It was all players. But then you had things like what the NFL tournament where, somebody came in and was salty and shot people up and killed themselves. these are the stories that, unfortunately, when we talk about esports, will come back to haunt us.
I think they prove that we're part of the rest of the world. I mean, shootings about riots about sporting events happen every day, every year, all the time. Probably not shootings every day, but
No, I mean every time, at the end of the Super Bowl, like the Eagles won, I think, this year, right? In 2018, that's whenever they won for the first time ever. The fucking Philadelphia Eagles won the fucking Super Bowl, and giant fucking riot, or not necessarily riots, but like people did break a lot of shit all over that.
Well,
city.
I think it's like I think it's Philly. I forget which city it is that like even when their team wins, they trash the city. Like they're just like fuck yeah,
and it's not
or
just
fuck
football
no.
that does
Like they
that.
just
Baseball
trash the
does
city.
this, hockey does this shit. Like every NBA does this shit.
And I'm not saying that to be like, well, no big deal. It's not new that this is happening. What I'm saying is, I hope that
We
it
joined
proves-
everybody else with being
it proves
assholes.
to the rest of the gaming industry that we exist in the real world, in not a sense that like okay, we're in the big time now, but in the sense that if we're gonna have real sporting events with real crowds and real athletes, then we need to start treating this like a real security concern.
Yeah, and one of the things that Brooklyn's saying in chat right now, by the way, to go back to the Dota thing, is he thought that crowdfunding prize pools is one of the smartest things you could do.
Really
I think
is.
that more companies should adapt that thing.
Well, you want to immediately gauge the popularity of whatever event you're putting on?
No,
Crowdfund
let me
the
tell
prize
you right
pool.
now,
It's
if you could
very
say-
good for something whenever you're trying to create a more fan-based community that's not based on corporate identities.
Right.
Corporate identities, what I mean, is things like the NFL, things
Right.
like NHL, things like Overwatch League. You are creating location-based
So
teams,
let me give you-
and crowdfunding that prize pool does not make any sense.
Sure, that doesn't make sense in that instance. But let's take, for instance, something that happened this year that I didn't actually have in the notes, but Brooklyn led to a really good point. In Street Fighter V, there is an option that you can now turn on to have like the Capcom Pro Cup labels put on your character in random weird spots.
Okay.
And if you do this weird thing,
It's like a DLC thing, right?
It's in the game. It exists.
Like a skin, like your character just has like
Yeah, for some reason Ryu
Has
has
some
like
patches
Capcom
on 'em or whatever.
It, probably the same as branding your tracer as Outlaw Tracer.
Sure, absolutely. That's the way that it works. And so the problem is that in that instance, what the benefit to the player is if you wear that skin is that if you play rounds as that character with that skin on, you get a discount or you get higher rewards when you win or lose, so you can buy the additional content at a cheaper rate. I would rather Capcom say something like, here's a really cool looking Ryu like Capcom Pro Tournament skin that's not a just crappy label over his
Right,
outfit,
but like a unique skin.
custom unique skin, $5 for this thing. But here's the deal: all $5 of that goes into Evo. I'd be like, done.
Yeah.
I will pay $5
Yeah, no,
to.
And
That
that's
really
what
makes
TI
sense,
has been
yeah.
doing the entire
Yeah.
time. Every year when TI comes about, and they've been doing this, I want to say, for 3 or 4 years now, maybe 5, is they're like, here's the compendium. What is the compendium? You buy it, you throw it on $10, you buy it. That is literally part of the prize pool. You raise that money, and it goes into the prize pool for TI. As you play games and as you fill out your compendium, because you're going to be playing games,
Right.
obviously, you can track your favorite esports stars. You can predict who's going to win what matches. You can create an MVP team. You can do all kinds of crazy fantasy football shit with your Dota, players.
Wow, that's deep, man.
And your predictions, the more they come true, the more points you get on your compendium, which unlocks more and more shit. And the reason you buy it, I buy it, and I don't play Dota. I never got one point in my compendium, but I bought it because it automatically bought me a ticket to stream it like any way I wanted, anywhere I wanted.
No commercials and nothing.
No, yeah,
just-
exactly.
And honestly, I mean, if you're especially because something like for the Dota's big season finale thing, and you want to pay for something like that because
Yeah.
it's going to the players, it's going to the community, and paying $10 to not have to deal with commercials,
Right.
is awesome. I mean, fuck, Overwatch League partnered with Twitch and Amazon and everybody
Yeah.
to make a pay us $25. And you no longer have to deal with the ads.
Yeah.
And it'd
In
be
fact,
just
I mean,
for
like,
Overwatch League.
Brooklyn just actually mentioned in chat that as of like yesterday, like the day before this was recorded,
Still this year.
right, there's a $20 DLC that goes to the prize pool of the Capcom Cup Finals.
They should be doing this for the entire game. I mean, there should literally be a DLC you can buy in Street Fighter that buys you a ticket to stream all of Evo and gives you a cool skin.
Yeah.
And then not only are they promoting Evo and hopefully donating some money to the prize pool, but they're getting more people interested in their game.
Well, and you can also do weird shit with that. Be like, hey, here's we decided to go back and like restore Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter 2. We put it on Steam, and you get that, which is normally a $15 purchase right now, but because you bought it for...
We're literally going to give you the code
we'll
for it.
give you the code for it.
And we'll
play
just
that
throw it
too.
in with the cost of this streaming ticket or whatever.
So I think that upcoming, we're going to be talking more about the future of esports advertising, but that's not for this episode. We'll come back to this. Let's go back to the year that was in 2018. BlizzCon 2018 happened, and it did not go well.
It started and ended with the exact same whimper.
Yeah. That was bad.
Yeah, no.
So I guess if we had to talk
BlizzCon
about...
was
if we had to-
very much... we know so many people that went to BlizzCon this year.
Yes, we
and
did.
I feel so
Overwatch League again.
bad
Right.
for all of them.
So there was like just a few weeks ago, there was some kind of like party to support Rudy Giuliani, which had to be canceled because no one wanted to show up or speak at the event. And that's how I feel about BlizzCon this year. It's like, or at least maybe BlizzCon next year. It'd be like, we had to cancel it. No one wanted to come.
no one's happy with us right
Here's
now.
my opinion about it, and I feel like my feelings summarizes the entire experience.
Do it.
I hate to be that guy.
Let's hear it.
Leading up to BlizzCon, I wanted to go so bad. I heard this was going to be the year of Diablo. They put out the cool like Sombra skin for the Demon Hunter.
That was the
I was
worst
like,
part.
I was like, what? This is the year of Diablo? This is the year that I have to go to BlizzCon. And then BlizzCon happened, and I went, oh, thank God I didn't spend all that money to go to BlizzCon.
Oh man, like
I feel so much happier.
Like
now.
they
Yeah.
tease you
Do
with
the thing I was
Diablo. They
upset
tease you
about.
with Diablo, and it's not even like just to use a very male analogy. It's not even like blue balls at that point. It's like they like went ahead and tickled the balls in the shaft, and then just bit the tip off, and was like, ha ha.
So what is the thing that happened that would cause such a fuss? Obviously, everything kind of underperformed. There was a reveal of WoW Classic, which everybody kind of went, in retrospect, we actually don't want that.
Right.
Well, we don't want that except for
Well, we
like,
don't want that at the expense of anything else good.
Right. We had Overwatch,
It's
which
like
really...
we had the fan community version of this, and everybody was okay if you just said leave it alone. But legally, I get that they
Right.
couldn't do that.
Overwatch didn't do so well because they were kind of letting everything else take center stage, because Overwatch has kind of been taking center stage for a while.
Yeah.
So they kind of said, all right, this is not our year. We'll just back up for a little bit. It's fine.
Did
Jeff
they win
Kaplan
first person shooter of the year again?
No. They did not
This year. They won last year.
Yeah, they won
Okay.
last year. So Overwatch took kind of a back seat. And then, like, Warcraft was like, I don't know, Warcraft 3 is going to get a re-release. And we're like, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
Warcraft.
all
3.
right,
I like
yeah.
Warcraft.
I love
that.
Warcraft.
I dig
Honestly,
that.
I haven't played Warcraft 3 in a very long
Does
time.
it have all the expansions? That was a good story.
Yeah, and they were redoing the art to make it look like WoW, to kind of make everything
Honestly,
kind of line up.
I haven't played Warcraft 3 in a very long time. Whenever they announced that, I went, awesome. I will once again buy Warcraft 3 for probably like the 17th time.
Yeah.
But you'll never have to buy it again because there's a Battle.net.
Yeah,
account
because
now.
there's
At
Battle.net
least
now.
now it'll
And you'll
be
just
part of my
have
Battle.net account
Battle.net.
and not a CD that I lost.
But the kicker to this whole thing was the thing that I had an erection for, which is more Diablo news. They said they came out on the world stage. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Soul Calibur recently.
Yeah, that's fair.
On the world stage, and said, so we're making a Diablo mobile game. And everybody went,
Wait,
Why?
why? And their answer was, don't y'all have phones?
yeah. It didn't go over so well.
No, that was...
I still believe that this might be just a really long, ongoing April Fool's joke. Like, April 1st will come around, they'll be like, just kidding!
I think my favorite was the meme that they did from the Babadook, and it wasn't just like the picture meme. It was like the full like 10 seconds of video where the mom just yells into the backseat, "Why can't you just be normal?" And the kid opens his mouth, screaming face, but the audio is, "Don't you have a phone?"
Yeah, it was a really weird fucking time for Blizzard. And again, I think we'll have to readdress this coming into...
You know how much
Yeah.
money they fucking lost
Next
because of
episode.
this shit?
A lot.
Blizzard...
Oh, they're in the tank almost as bad as EA.
All right, so Activision made a bunch of bad mistakes this year, and because Activision Blizzard are the same
And I'm
thing,
specifically-
they actually lost a lot of stock percentage.
Yeah, and that's the worst part, is they-
Hector brings up a good point, though, because he mentioned the key word, which is EA.
Yeah.
EA had a weird year.
Did have
They
a
do
weird
sports.
year.
Because Battlefield 5 came out, and everybody really liked it, and it was
Yeah.
good. But then other games that came out had, and this was the theme of the year, loot boxes and microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
FIFA, UFC. They did a fucking Command and Conquer game on mobile that had
Yeah.
microtransactions.
There was an NBA game as well, I want to
Like,
say.
This was the year that we talked about loot boxes the most,
More than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is a
Practically
today
every
news.
week.
Like, just give me like 2 seconds to. You played Fallout, the mobile game, right?
Yes, I
And
did.
it had the loot box system where you could
It
buy.
does.
It does.
Yep.
And they knew that going in. It's a free to play game, right? And they said Fallout 76 is never going to have loot boxes. Well, guess what happened today in the API that they found? The option to buy those lunch boxes
Oh, yeah,
are
lunch
going to become
boxes.
available, and that they have world effects and all these things. It was like, if you seriously add this into a game that everybody's already fucking mad about, you will literally kill your
I
game.
read something today that said those boxes have the potential to buy power based on what's
That's
possible.
Based on the
fucking
API.
horrible.
The
That is
API,
horrible.
the API shows that you can do all of the things that were in the mobile game, but
So,
inside of it for yourself.
There's been a lot of
It's
contrast
horrible.
about this when people talk about the Diablo mobile game and like Diablo 4 versus Fallout Shelter and Fallout 4. And they said the big difference between the two is that when Bethesda, and we will get back to them in a minute, let's not ride
Yeah.
that train just yet, but when back in the Fallout 4 days, when Bethesda announced Fallout Shelter, it was a bridge gap. It was this little stopgap where they said, "Hey, we're making this mobile game, but that's only because we need 3 more months to finish Fallout 4. It'll be released. But here's a fun little thing, completely free to play. You do not have to buy anything.
you can download it tonight.
Yeah, download it tonight. By the way, the lunch boxes, you don't have to buy them. You can earn several per week. It's a lot of fun. Just go ahead and
Yeah.
do it." Whereas Blizzard came out and said, "Diablo Immortal, this is all you're getting for Diablo, fuckers. Haha, we're going away."
and
Also, we didn't develop this game.
Yeah.
We literally just had another company reskin a game for
Okay,
us.
so let's get back on track real quick because loot boxes were the center stage of 2018.
They were
And
because they ended up being
EA was the one that really fucking made this the worst.
Yeah,
Right?
They always had the potential. When it started out, it was mostly people talk about Overwatch a lot when it comes to loot boxes, and they do exist. And they are, even though they don't affect the game literally at all, except for how your character looks.
Yeah.
And shit you can spray on the walls. It doesn't affect the game in any way. But it's still, the loot boxes are still a practice that we're not super on board with, but we're okay with it. And to be honest, with me, my first experience with loot boxes was in Overwatch. I never played any other online game that had them before that.
And I always felt that it was a positive experience for me.
I had no problem with it.
I've been playing Overwatch Tony got it for me the year it came out, and I haven't bought a single loot box.
No?
But I've never felt the need to.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to get them. You're going to earn a few of your week if you feel like it's worth your time. And if you don't, then you won't.
Yeah,
No big
exactly.
deal. But other games started adopting them very quickly.
Jesus
and then,
Christ, I did buy you that game, didn't I? The fuck is wrong with me?
and then started putting...
That's exactly how we got to the fact that Hector is wearing an Outlaw shirt right now. You are the reason all this has happened.
Right.
Oh
th-
my
th-
god!
And they started
I'm
putting...
such a horrible person.
started putting more and more loot boxes into other games, and then a couple games made a mistake. They're like, "Oh yeah, here's loot boxes, but you can buy power." And you not only are you buying
Yeah,
power,
pay to win became a thing.
not only are you paying to win, like in mobile games of the past, but you were literally gambling to pay to win.
Yep.
You could pay and get no
that is-
able to win
and
or
it
all
wasn't
the ability
just,
to win.
Yeah,
Yep.
it started down that direction. We had things like WB Shadow of War. Shadow of War had content locked behind loot boxes.
Yeah, and it was so egregious that they had to re-release the game without them in the game.
We have the FTC chairman saying they're going to investigate loot boxes here in America. And guess what? That isn't just a one country thing.
No.
Everybody
The whole
else was,
EU.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
entire
that's the-
EU is doing it.
That's all the countries, guys.
Everybody is coming down on this right now,
except
saying
for
like,
England. Forgot about that. Except for England.
we gave loot boxes a shot, and there's the good end
And
of
they
the
became
spectrum.
instantly predatory.
Yeah, we had the good end of the spectrum was like Overwatch, which is just some skins. No
The
big
closest we could have to what we considered the good version,
Yeah.
which is Overwatch. But in my opinion, still, and I've said this, I don't know, a billion
know.
fucking times
I
on the
know.
show, all loot boxes are gambling,
Yeah.
no matter what, and they should not be allowed
So-
in any game that is available to children.
deal. Right, I understand that. So last year, our hard rule coming into 2018 was you can no longer make things great again.
Yes.
Now, going into 2019, we can no longer talk about how loot boxes are gambling.
Right. And it's probably a
I
good thing.
feel like
We talked about it all fucking year.
You
did
know
it.
what? I'm kind of annoyed because we've talked about it all fucking year, and I still feel like nothing has been done.
Except
and
now
we
it
have
is.
to keep talking about it.
Now it
A
is.
lot has been done.
No, but they're
Two
still
major-
fucking up.
Yeah, of course they're gonna keep fucking up because they're gonna keep trying to figure out how they can squeeze
They're not
more money out of it.
5-year-olds. We have to hold them fucking accountable
And
for
we
their
do,
actions.
but we have. Look at what happened to Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. 2 being the worst of it, because that game was fucking expensive to make and cost $1 trillion for the Disney license for Star Wars. And then it didn't make any money because everyone hated it because of the fucking loot boxes.
Yeah,
and you know
because
what isn't
it wouldn't-
in Battlefield 5? Any sort of loot box at all, anywhere.
Now, Brooklyn makes a really good point. 2018 was a year where we got into the available now. I feel like it started in 2017, but really kind of came home in 2018, where a lot of big announcements happened and they came with dates attached to them.
Yes.
With the exception of E3. Which was an egregious fucking time where
man.
I watched every fucking presentation and said, so...
When does any of this happen?
yeah.
Sometime in the future.
Yeah, sometime in the future we will have all of these things. For the most part, the game industry as a whole has been giving us day and date for things.
Well,
but
but even,
E3 was just like, here's a bunch of trailers that may be happening in the next 5 years, guys.
So we can
Good
talk about
luck.
Microsoft, and Microsoft actually has a really good excuse for that. They just bought a bunch of studios, and they're like,
Yeah, they're like,
we're working on stuff.
But they
and
were-
I get that.
But they're also the
Sony,
company who showed off fucking Cyberpunk 2077.
They
all
are,
right?
but no one controls when that comes out except for CD Projekt Red, and CD
There's
Projekt
literally
Red
an entire country working on it.
has
It's coming as fast as it can.
said it will be out when we're done. Fuck off till then.
the entire country of Poland's just like, all right, guys, you'll get it when it's done.
And I've got to call out my own house here though, because Sony's E3 press conference was a whole bunch
the
of games.
worst.
It was a shit show.
It was a
Sony's
whole
E3's
bunch-
press conference was the worst.
That's
followed
not
by
what
a
I'm talking
15-minute
about.
interlude, followed by more of the worst.
That's not what I'm talking about. It had the best trailers for the best games that
It
are
did,
coming out next year,
absolutely.
period. But it showed trailers for games that are coming out this generation, already been established. And we have roughly 2.5 years left to go in that generation when they came out. Maybe not even 2.5, maybe closer to 1.5.
Right.
Not a single game they showed had a release date. They showed like 5 or 6 very well crafted trailers for very
Like
good
when they showed
AAA
Spider-Man,
quality
you're like,
games.
we know that's coming out the end of the year
And
already.
the Spider-Man, but yeah, they shot their whole Spider-Man wad the year before.
They did.
But the you see what I did there?
Yeah, they shot web all over the place.
But the other games they were talking about, Shadows Die Twice, the Wars of Tsushima or whatever the other samurai game is.
Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize for butchering that.
Yeah, me too. Obviously,
We're trying to remember shit from like many months
yeah.
ago.
Also
okay?
in another language.
Last
yes.
of Us, and even a game that we've been looking at E3 for like 4 years, Days Gone, not a single release date, and not even a like third quarter 2019, like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, it was a really bad E3 this year, and I fucking hate it. So
2020, I'm telling you, man. 2020 is going to be
now
a good E3.
there were good times though that did happen in the games industry. We got some amazing games. Like we got Marvel Spider-Man, obviously came
Yes,
out.
wonderful game.
I haven't played it. I have a week coming up soon.
Yeah, you should absolutely
That is my
play
week.
It. Well,
My
no, you
week
should play
is
God
up.
of War first.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
God of War is gonna take more than a week.
Wonderful fucking
I'm
game.
not a DBZ fan, but I'm a fighting game fan,
Yes.
and everybody says if you're a fighting game fan, you want
Yeah,
to
It's
no,
the best
it's-
fighting game. Okay, I've played, and I'm sorry, Brooklyn, but I've played all the Street Fighters that have come out recently. I've played the Mortal Kombats. I don't own them, but I played a lot of them vicariously. I played the new Smash Brothers.
10 was good.
already.
Mortal Kombat 10 was a very good
Yeah,
game.
Smash
It's
Brothers
also
came out
quite a few
recently.
years old at this point.
And it's good, but the best fighting game to come out in 2018 is 100% Dragon Ball Fighter Z,
So you
hands down.
say that, but we haven't played the new Super Smash.
You should, because it's wonderful.
And it came out this year, but also the
It came out
rewards
last
are
Friday.
Yeah, but also the rewards were already done by the time
Yeah.
this game came out.
Right. But we also had God of War that came out. We had Battlefield 5. This was a good year for just games in general. I know it sounds like
We
we're
had a
shitting
lot of
on
great
them a
games
lot.
So
coming out
as
this
much as
year.
I shit on like the things, my favorite thing about Battlefield 5 was the cover controversy.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I can't let the year go by without talking about that. Whenever they announced Battlefield 5 and there's a woman on the cover of it, and World War II jacket thing with a gun.
Garb.
Yeah, garb, whatever. The uniform.
Yeah.
And everybody, all the dude bros going like, that's not historically accurate. We don't like this. Women weren't involved in this war. And EA basically went, yeah, we don't fucking care. Fuck off.
Yeah.
They literally said, don't buy our game then.
And then at some point, like 5 minutes later, somebody went on Reddit and actually said, "So here's the evidence that they actually did."
Right.
No, it's just the fact
was
the game
my favorite thing.
The
was
game
like,
studio itself is just like, we're not dealing with you. It's the way that they was it.
Like,
not-
I don't-
It's like in
I don't
software
wanna-
or something being like, yeah, we punch Nazis in video games because
look,
fucking
look,
Nazis.
if you're a Nazi and you're upset by this, go kill yourself.
yeah, like
we
Yeah,
literally
and
will be better off without
People
you.
were mad at EA when they did this, and people are dumb sometimes.
It's
But okay, so
Sometimes,
I
yeah.
get being outraged at EA forever. I understand. I get being outraged at the Battlefield franchise
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
But
because historically,
when Battlefield 5 came out and had like a woman on the cover and was like, yeah, you can totally be a woman in World War II. What of it? And people were mad. They're like, if you don't like it, don't buy the game.
yeah.
And people got really upset. They're like, "Oh, you just don't want our business?" And they're like, my whole point was like, "Fucking yeah, they don't want your business, bigot, get out."
Yeah, literally, they're like, we don't
there-
like you.
There
We
was a
don't want to be
controversy
involved
around
with
it.
you.
It was like they're not respecting their audience. It's like they are respecting their audience that they want.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the whole thing that it did with Wolfenstein 2 earlier. Like, yeah, because I fucking
When you
hate
come-
Nazis, and I made this game about shooting Nazis in the fucking face. If you don't like that,
I think
don't
going-
buy my
I-
game.
Yeah, whenever they came out on stage and said like "fuck Nazis," like just the
Yeah.
only time the cursing is allowed in E3
Yeah.
is
it's
to say "fuck Nazis,"
Nazis.
and Wolfenstein
And I
is involved.
think that, and again, this is not the episode for it. The episode on January 7th definitely is.
Uh-huh.
But I do feel like we will see some more politically charged games going
for
into
sure.
2019.
Oh, there's that with hands down. That is definitely
All right.
a thing that will be happening.
We have a couple more things to
do.
kind of go into here. One of the big ones was Fallout 76 happened.
Lol, we did a whole episode about it. If you want to know why that game is shit, it's like 2 episodes ago. And it's about an hour and a half of me yelling at you.
Fallout-
Doesn't it sound fun?
Fallout 76 was a game that I didn't know if I wanted it. They made me buy into the hype of it, and then it got closer to release, and I was like, I don't know. Do I spend the money?
I almost bought it for you.
Like,
I was going to get you the collector's
It looked
thing.
promising
I was
right
almost
up-
going to buy it for
Right
you.
up until
Yeah.
release, everyone was...
I wanted
Even
it.
when the demo came out, and it was the demo. Even
so
when
this
the,
is I'm going to count this as gaming news.
All right, yeah, go
So
ahead.
this is the year where the gaming audience has somewhat learned to go, don't
Yeah.
pre-order shit.
I know, yeah,
Don't buy anything. And this isn't just this is in games, because Fallout 76 and multiple other games have been a huge fucking letdown. Also in the hardware world, Intel and Nvidia have released products that were massively fucking their customers over
Yep.
Right,
for
yeah.
a lot of money, and because people are just like pre-order it, like fucking it was for the new RTX cards, the new Nvidia graphics
yeah,
cards.
the 1080 versus the 2080 is practically the same as the 1080 Ti, even though it costs much much more.
Yeah, it
and
costs
it's
about
literally
almost,
brand new.
almost like $700 to $800 more than it.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the best websites for reviews, for literally the graphics cards reviews, that does like not even like I mean by reviews is we take this, we test it against all these games, and then we tell you what the
Right.
scores are. That kind of review. The review for this card before it came out was just buy it. Like literally, they said just buy it. It doesn't matter how much it costs. It doesn't
We know
matter.
you're gonna
It
buy
doesn't
it,
matter what the
dummy.
stats for the card are. Just buy it. And unfortunately, people have been buying the cards, even though they're giant pieces of shit. But we, I think, as the casual audience for buying these, we don't have fucking $2,000 to bust out every time fucking Nvidia makes a new badass video card.
Exactly.
We're not
which
those
is
people.
Which is why you should donate to the show.
You should donate $2,000 to the show so we can buy a new graphics card.
Donate like $20 to the show. It's way
Really,
less
we
than
just
the
need
video
a
card.
stream deck, guys. Like
Yeah.
that's all.
They're
we
like
do.
$100.
So I think you're absolutely right, especially as we've seen in this year in gaming news the decline and possibly demise of GameStop. Most of that is because people have stopped pre-ordering.
Yeah, no,
video
it's
games.
stopping
We're
the
seeing it less
pre-ordering.
and less.
Stop pre-ordering hardware. Stop pre-ordering
And we
software.
didn't even talk about what happened within Fallout 76, the
Oh.
canvas bag controversy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like Like that was a huge
And
deal.
that was the pre-order bullshit.
Because you know what, the one thing that I would
Collector's
the one thing
edition.
that I would have
Yeah.
wanted for Fallout 76, even if I never played the game,
Was
is this,
cool swag.
was the special edition.
I
that
wanted
came
the
with a
fucking helmet. I
and
wanted
all
the
that.
fucking helmet.
That's what I wanted. Like I would have, you know what? If even if the game was shit, I'd be like, you know what? I got this cool helmet. I can display this.
my
this-
love of even Fallout 1
Yeah.
and 2.
Yeah.
I get to have a fucking
I will
power
have
armor
this
helmet.
really cool like bag
And
that
I can put
comes
it on.
in,
Yeah.
and then people got the game,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a
And the
canvas
game was
bag.
fucking terrible, and the bag was a cheap piece of shit that you could literally crumple up into a ball and put in your pocket.
And they advertised a very high quality, like
it
beautiful.
was a canvas bag, and it was gorgeous.
Had they marketed it, this bag can fit in your pocket, people would have been a lot happier.
Yeah,
And there was, and I mean, the helmet seemed like it was fine, and that was the end of Angry Joe on YouTube's review. He was like, "The helmet's cool.
yeah,
Does anyone want to buy a helmet?"
yeah. And that completely makes sense. All right, so let's get into our last little bit of video game stuff, and this is kind of the bigger stuff that will. I absolutely guarantee you this will go into what's up and coming in 2019.
Well, are we not going to talk? Are we not even going to mention Monster Hunter World?
Okay, yeah, Monster Hunter World, we should mention that.
Monster Hunter World. Come on. This is a huge deal.
It is.
This was a large part of the beginning of my year, like from March to like
A
May.
franchise normally not really acknowledged or cared about by a Western audience.
Right. And
Came
always
out.
on a handheld
Right, handheld
system.
device.
Mm-hmm.
It came out on the PS2. It did come out on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
It came out on the 3DS. But really, it made its mark
But there was
this
no
year.
true large console
Right,
release
right.
or
And it-
PC
and
release.
it came out on the PS4.
Yep.
But it was not until the PC release that we saw literally like 10 million copies
Mm-hmm.
of a franchise that people in the US did not care about. 10
Yeah.
million copies.
And
Yeah.
Sold
I really
when it
hope,
came to PC.
I really hope they take notice of that because it sold well on the PlayStation 4. But when it got to PC...
They're getting fucking The Witcher in it.
Yeah. When it got to PC...
By the way,
it-
go ahead and call me out for my bullshit right now.
Oh yeah, we have the drink as well because we.
Oh, yeah, we did
Hector
talk
has to-
about The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't here for when we
I got-
talked
I got
about
so
it.
much-
I listened to it
I
today
got
at
so
work.
much shit from him about how
Okay, yeah, he called him Geralt of Riviera, and I almost, like, walked to
I think
his...
it's pronounced Geralt.
I
Whatever.
almost walked to his desk and slapped him. Okay, Rivia is a country that Geralt of Rivia comes from. The Riviera is a river that winds along the coast of like Italy, I think, or it's the Italian
first
word
off-
for coast, I think, something like that. Either way. Fuck. You also called him Jeff Knightley like 7 times. His name's Jeff Keighley or Keithley. One of those. It's not Knightley.
shit.
too many-
Sorry, there was
It's
a lot
okay.
of things
It's
going on.
okay.
This is
It's
how
my
much-
fault.
All right,
I wasn't here.
You weren't here. I was being a bad producer by not caring about what we're talking about and fact checking anything. Basically, everybody's at fault for this. It was a trifecta of fuck uppery.
yeah.
So all this stuff is going on. A lot of the huge mess with Fallout and the canvas bags and all this, and this ends up kind of bringing us to the big thing that I think will bleed over into 2019, which is what happened with Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
So Red Dead Redemption 2 was launched, has won all these awards and made
And
all this money.
Rightfully so. It's
And
very
rightfully
well
so.
made.
Pretty much everybody I know that is remotely was interested in that game was already like, this is already going to be the game of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Just playing it, just the
and
feeling
the
you get.
casual people were like, we know this game's going to be the
But
best.
what I think you will see coming into 2019 is the controversy since then, which is something that we talked very
did.
adamantly about when it happened, and it seems the rest of the industry is catching
Well,
up.
I think we've been talking about it adamantly for a while now.
For a
It's
while,
just-
but the kind of egregious stuff you saw coming out of Rockstar, that just like pen to paper, I slept under my desk for a week type of shit. Not because I was so passionate about the game, which I was, but because I had to.
Yeah, there was no like
We weren't
overtime
going to
bonuses.
ship this game
There
had
was
I
no,
not done this.
you know, perks for working as many hours.
Right.
It was
no,
literally
they worked 100-hour weeks for probably like 40, 50 grand
like
a year.
in the UK, they had to sign away their overtime rights.
Right.
Basically, the things that say you should not be working so many hours a week, they were given a piece of paper to sign away saying, "No, I'm going to be
you
working." on
cannot
this
sue
game."
us over this.
right.
And out of that, we are getting what possibly like the best thing to happen for the video game industry
And so
right at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So here's my analogy for this: is we always make fun of Poland for having an entire country to work on CD Projekt Red games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Those employees-
they got like a couple people manning some museums.
Right.
And-
Those employees are notoriously happy, despite the odd
Weirdly, living in Poland.
Yeah, despite the odd like sexual harassment thing here and there that comes with every company, the CD Projekt Red is apparently just a bastion of good work practices. And then you have Rockstar producing a very high quality, very well received game that is just whipping their employees on their backs as they carry their palicans, like just brutalizing their employees. These companies both produce very high quality, very well made games. So what is the difference?
Yeah.
Is the difference chasing the dollar now? Is the difference how long it takes until your game comes out versus how good you want it to be? Because maybe that's where the focus
CD
should lie.
Projekt Red is Blizzard in 1999.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
They are the company that says
They're the ones that care.
we will take care of our employees.
Mm-hmm.
Our games will come out when they come out. We don't have to meet a release date. By the way, if we have to push it back, understand it's for quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to happen that way. That's what CD Projekt Red is. Rockstar is almost the
EA.
No.
EA
Do you know
forever.
what they feel like to me? They feel like Activision during the Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 years.
Yeah.
They feel like
true.
the ones kicking out badass quality games, obviously at the expense of everyone and not
Yeah,
without
because you are
controversy.
knocking one of these out every single year,
Right.
and they are good games.
And Rockstar can't be accused of knocking a game out every year by any stretch, but every release they've
But the
had
work conditions
in the
we've been
last few
hearing.
years have been not without controversy.
Right. And the reason I bring this up, and I do want to end on kind of a high note for video game news this week, is that in all of 2018, with all this bad stuff that has happened, a new news item that popped up literally hours before I wrote these show notes.
It was today.
There is a group in the UK that is forming, because of the Rockstar controversy, a video gamers, like developers union that says we will no longer abide by these business practices. We're gonna draw our fucking line in the sand and say
Yeah, no.
we are not putting up with this.
we are going to create
And
a
for-
union that will not allow our members to sign away their overtime rights.
Right. And from millennials and young people and people who don't remember what unions are when workers band together, form a corporation, and hire lawyers to defend them. And this can happen across multiple companies with a single union. You used to have in the 70s and 80s in all harbor cities. You're talking like Baltimore, you're talking New York City,
Chicago.
Chicago, you would have a union of, say, stevedores, and they were dock workers. But every dock worker across, no matter what company they worked
Detroit,
for, belonged to
famously.
that union. And that meant that the lawyers that they hired represented their employees to every single company and made sure they all had the same rights, the same pay, the same fairness when it came to hiring and
conditions.
firing practices and working conditions. And yes, historically, unions have not always been without
We
controversy
literally have
or
a fucking
non-corrupt.
holiday in the United States about this.
We do.
That for
And-
some reason we think are soldiers for now because
Yeah.
we're fucking idiots.
But unions are a wonderful thing that need to come back in full force. And if any industry on earth, and I know a lot of them do, needed a union, it is fucking game developers.
So this is something that historically I've compared the film industry to and the video game industry very closely because they do have very similar backgrounds for their early development.
True.
And the video game industry is just the film industry, but just its timeline is amplified.
Right, and the
And
problem
the
there's
film
a,
industry took a long time to get to the unionization.
It did.
And if you take that, the video game industry is everything happening but 10 times as fast, they are on track for getting to the unionization part.
I hope so, because
Finally.
if you everyone remembers the writer's strike of 2008, it halted.
Oh yeah, it destroyed the show
It
Lost.
halted Hollywood. When the union said no more work, everyone put their fucking pencils down and said, all right, no more work until we reach a conclusion. That is the power of a union. And that's what every game developer needs in their back pocket. Because now in Hollywood, if you're a set maker, Not a set designer, not a person who's art directing
The
a
dude,
movie.
like, literally
if
moved
you're
it.
the
I'm
guy,
putting-
I'm putting wood on a thing.
if
and
you're a
putting
guy
wood next to
hammering a
wood.
frame together and then like painting a facade of rock onto styrofoam, you are a well-paid person with health insurance, with benefits, with vacation time. You will move from project to project with ease, with access, and no one will give you shit. And it's really hard to fire you unless you do your job incorrectly, or just are a shitty
or sexual
employee.
harassment or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's
the
hard to
reasons
fire
you
you for
should
no
hire-
reason. It's not like Texas in a right to work state where you can be like, that guy's gay. I can't fire him for that. I don't like his hat. He's fired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's got a rainbow on it. We don't like rainbows here.
Right. So, I mean, and that's what unionization does for employees. And because the people who make movies, the artists who are spraying rock texture onto styrofoam are actual artists, because I don't know how to fucking do that, and it would look like shit if I did it. These are skilled workers. Video game developers, these artists, these code masters that can weave art into code and make it all look nice together, those are highly skilled workers, making less probably than I do, most of them. And what the fuck? That is horrible, and they need a union.
For the,
and I'm
the
glad they're
games
getting
industry has grown so massive at this point that some of the video game sales are overtaking the largest budget films as
Yeah.
for the amount of money that they make. Like the gross domestic product is that of some countries.
Yep.
With how good some of these video games are doing, and the fact that we are just now getting the unionization, we are on track for my weird timeline that exists in my brain because of the movie thing to video games.
Sure.
But they're getting there, and if this is the first, this isn't the first step. There's been a few along the way. The Games Developers Conference for multiple years had started to have talks about how we can do this here,
Right.
But they never finalized anything. There's never a day. Well, fuck it, we're unionizing, and this is how it's going to work. I think with this happening in England first, and being how all that's going to be handled, will affect the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And
so.
I'm looking forward to the next 4 or 5 years of some changes happening.
Yeah. Right.
As it's not an overnight thing, guys.
No,
It's
no,
not.
but
It's-
you
it's-
know what I
it's
really
just
want to see?
relatively slow process.
I would pay admission to watch union lawyers talk to rockstar lawyers. I would pay for a ticket to be in that room. I would
this point,
right now.
I'm actually-
I would pre-order that ticket.
So yours is Rockstar, mine's Activision, because Activision
for
has their
sure.
hands in so many other companies. They'll be like, wait, we have to control how many people doing what? We actually have to do our jobs?
We have to pay them, but that's so much less CEO bonus.
All right, that's everything that we have for video games in the year in review. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going to our final section, entertainment.
And yes, the price
go
of
that
video
way, I'm gonna
games
go that
has
way.
stayed the same for a while.
last like 20 years almost.
Yeah, and it hasn't affected inflation, and that's one of the things that I've complained about multiple times on the show, because my personal belief is I am more than happy to pay more money for a game to have zero in-game advertisements and zero loot boxes, zero anything causing me additional shit. No, I will basically I want the collector's edition all at once. I want I'll give you $80, you give me the game, the whole thing, and no ads, because in some games that works, like racing games and shit like that, anything takes place in the modern era or fucking like Spider-Man shit, anything that's a modern-esque game that you can put ads on billboards, and it just seems like that's a thing that should be there. I don't believe, like fucking put a fake ass thing on the edition that I got, because I do not fucking want to see that shit. This came out of the original Xbox. I was playing a racing game, and it had a Honda Element and Mountain Dew shit all over the place. It was a skiing game, I think. I can't remember what the name is. SSX Tricky, I think. And you were going down a mountain, and you went through a Honda Element with its doors open, and then there was a Mountain Dew ad over here, and it just drove me fucking crazy. And I was like, I actively want to give you more money, so I never have to see this shit. It's what we have fucking Hulu and Netflix for now. I will pay you money so I do not have to deal with advertisers. I hate advertisements. There was a country in
For the record, for the inflation comment, I actually paid somewhere between $60 to $80 for Super Street Fighter 2, brand new on the Sega Genesis. So think about that. That's what it cost back then.
yeah.
That is what the game cost.
I mean, I like the $60 price point. I just like it because while games haven't increased to inflation, our cost of living overall has increased so fucking much that entertainment costs need to go down
They do
to
have
make it worthwhile at this point.
Yeah, imagine if like the cost of a movie
Because
ticket
I can probably buy like a pot way cheaper than it would be for me to play some video games.
Oh yeah, I mean, imagine.
And I'll have just as much fun.
And you have to talk about which inflation, because inflation is such a nebulous term these days. If video game prices had gone up in the last, say, 10 years,
If they had gone
gone up
from-
in the last 20 years at the same rate that college tuition has gone up, no one would be able to afford a movie ticket.
Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, which again I hate when they keep adding fucking words to titles of games.
Oh no, I know what you're talking
And
about.
Street Fighter's really bad about that.
GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64 was $76 at retail.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I get that the industry just kind of they evened out on prices. They're like, this is the average price we should pay, which is $60. And I wish that they had slowly increased by $5 every. I can't tell you how
Couple
many
years,
every
whatever.
couple years, to where right now I'd be paying $90 for a game.
Right.
But as I said, while you were in the bathroom, I want 0 advertisements. I want 0 DLC.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want 0 anything else. I buy the game. You give me fucking
Right.
everything.
And the problem is that
I'll buy a collector's editions for $20 more and get a cool figure with it.
Right, but they've realized that they make so much more than the actual price of inflation by doing it this way.
Yeah.
That they're not going to increase the price of games.
Yeah, no, because you're not paying for the full game anyway.
Right.
You're paying for the bun. We'll give you the meat later for $25. We'll give you the lettuce for $35.
Right. And yeah, Brooklyn, you're exactly right. They don't have to finish games anymore before they release them. In such a bad way that when we get a game that is finished now, when it's released, we're flabbergasted.
For me, I because of playing things like Destiny or Overwatch or any first-person shooter, I like getting updates. It
Sure.
follows the MMO idea. It was we need to balance things and make the game slightly more fun, because otherwise it's going to turn into a meta where you use one thing and that's all you're going to fucking use, and the game is now boring and nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Fighting games even need this. They need it like a little bit like, well, we need to tweak this person, so we make it where it's not just, well, fuck, somebody did the math and figured out if you do these 3 moves over and over again, you will dominate everything, and now the game is fucking pointless.
Yeah, and the thing about, like, now people are starting to say, well, especially, and I heard this about Fallout 76, and it made my fucking stomach
You can
turn.
play with 16s of people.
No, it was okay. Yeah, the game's broken now on release, but
Yeah.
let's see what it looks like in a year.
That's what happened
And
with Destiny 2.
all I
they
could-
did
all-
they did the new Forsaken update.
Right, and
And
Destiny
the game's
2,
fucking amazing
Destiny
now.
2 is where I learned my lesson though, because
Because they did it with Destiny 1 as well.
I'm fine that I'm happy that Destiny 2 is better now, but that's not how you should release your game, and I feel like you need to be punished for that. And if
Oh
Fallout,
no,
and if they're-
we're the abused couple.
Yeah.
we when the game comes out, we get quite a few black eyes and we hurt and we don't like you. And
then maybe
feel
we can
abused,
change
but
them.
maybe we can change. And when, a year later, whenever the change happens,
why sign
everything's-
yourself up for
everything's
abuse, man?
good for a little while, and then all of a sudden somebody's got a drinking problem again,
Right.
and we come back out with more black
But,
eyes.
okay, but if 5,000 people are playing Fallout 76 in a year, I will eat a hat. I will eat this hat on this show.
That's
This
what happened with
fucking
Division.
bullshit.
Division dropped to that kind of a number and came back around. They
did.
and they gave out free updates.
So did Destiny 2. Destiny 2 went low before their first update.
Well,
before their first
they
big
never,
patch.
They never went down to Division level of we're literally giving everything away for free.
No, I mean,
They
I
have
mean their
given the
player
gr-
count. Like
Oh.
Division's player count was at the bottom was higher than Destiny 2's.
Yeah.
Destiny 2's low player count. I mean, I'm thinking PC, but it was
Oh no, PC's nearly
it
non-existent.
was like less than 1,000. at some
PS4
point.
still wins on the player count whenever, and if you take Xbox and PC together, they actually always surpass PS4.
Yeah.
Even with how bad PC got, Xbox and PC's numbers combined always outnumber PlayStation
Yeah.
players. And they should maybe think about that when it comes to exclusive shit. Whenever that this one, while it does have good numbers, there are obviously other people who don't,
Right.
and they've kind of done that. Honestly, all right, Destiny 1 when it came to exclusives was a little bit shitty because they had
Yeah,
things,
well, it was the old Call of Duty model that they were mimicking. The like exclusive for a year on PlayStation. Like, come on.
Oh no!
why?
On at the end of it, it came down to 2.5 years for
Yeah.
exclusive shit. And this one, they're basically still won't give us a date, but it's basically a year.
It's like-
and we've gotten some of the PlayStation exclusive content at this point, and we also went, could you keep this? We don't like it. It's bad. Like you
Can
literally.
this not be in my game?
Yeah, you literally gave us the ugliest looking armor, the shittiest fucking strike, the shittiest fucking like PvP map. We hate this. Like when it came out to PC and Xbox, they went, "We feel bad for PlayStation users that this is what they have to deal with." Can we just not have it in the game?
Oh yeah, you're Lindsay. Thanks. I hate it.
Like that, and it was the good thing whenever they finally realized, like, I think it's kind of their fuck you answer, because whenever they came out to PC, like, we got to make this way more inclusive for everybody else.
Yeah.
So we're going to make additional content that's for the PlayStation users. And part of me gets pissed because it is tied to lore stuff, because Strike does have a story behind it,
Right.
and that PvP map will have like lore behind that location, and I can't experience for a while, or in the case of Destiny 1, 2.5 years. And by the time I do, cool, awesome, I get to experience it, but you're putting this behind a wall, and you should never put... They also put lore in the in-game purchase department, and that's what pisses me off. You can still access it without it. They still have access. You like every one of those, you can go and read the lore tab without ever owning the thing.
Yeah.
So the lore is available, but it's not there. So it pisses. If that's another thing that pisses me off, is hiding fucking story behind paywall content.
The thing about Marvel Infinite and Marvel games in general is they really need to figure that shit out. They are sitting on what can only be described as a diamond and platinum and like oil mine, and they're basically like, maybe if we make it super shitty, people will come take it.
Which one's Infinite?
That was the one, the MMO one, I think, or not MMO, but like it's kind of like an MMO. Think of like
I remember. There's
City
DC,
of Heroes.
DC has their MMO thing that I think they finally killed off,
Right,
because it was just costing way too much on server space,
Right.
and content.
and it was kind of like a Diablo looter too, if I'm not mistaken. Now this game is everything, but do you remember Marvel Infinite, James?
Oh, that was a thing that came out.
Yeah.
Well, Brooklyn's talking about it, and we're trying to remember this shit.
I'm
now.
trying to remember exactly what game it was.
I was on a
but-
tangent about how fucking
Yeah, it's the fighting
lore
game.
behind
Oh, the
things.
fighting game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that died a horrible death, and I really liked
Oh,
the game. I
yeah.
own a copy of it.
Here.
If you said Marvel versus Capcom Infinite,
Yeah, that was my fault. I didn't recognize
okay. Yeah,
the
no,
MVC.
sorry. That was I watched the trailer for it and went,
I
this
liked it.
looks really cool, and then halfway through the trailer I went, I don't want to play this.
I own a copy. It was fun. I had a chance to learn to play it, and I played it for a hot minute, and then I dropped it like it was hot, and immediately picked up Dragon Ball Z. Because that
It
is a
came out
good
right
fighting
around the
game
same time.
that I still play.
And Dragon Ball Z, that was the weird things, because when Dragon Ball Z came out, I was like reading all the pre-reviews. And that's kind of how I do pre-buy games now. It's like I don't buy them until the game comes out, with a couple of exceptions.
Cool. I'll take it.
Dragon Ball was one of the ones I was reading after the game came out, and everybody's review for it is like, holy fuck, this game is amazing.
It's too good, dude. It's way too good.
And I was like, how is a Dragon Ball game good? They've never made a good one before.
yeah, no.
Like,
God,
it's gone from
so
company
good.
to company, and they've all been shit.
No, but to go back to my point, someone needs to fucking figure out how to make Marvel video games, because
Am I drinking this Red Zeppelin?
they will never make more. It's a red ale, like an Irish red ale. It's pretty good. I love that stuff.
If not, I'll trade you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry. I mean, you say it's good, but like I'm like,
Hey
I
man,
don't
you
know.
wanna? If you're picky, I'll drink whatever you don't. It's
Every
fine.
now and then I get a beer. It's like, oh, not drinking that. Not drinking that.
But yeah, no. If think about how many
Mouthfeel.
10. It's the mouthfeel. Why is no one talking about the mouthfeel?
All right,
Back.
continue before it switches over.
Bruce
It's my
Wayne.
nose. It's still so good, Bruce Wayne.
But I mean, think about what we're sitting on. 10 years. There was like an Iron Man game after Iron Man came out, and that was it. And it looked kind of cool, but no one played it. But like, think
It's
about
not bad.
how many movies we've had since 2008, Marvel movies that have zero video game tie-ins.
So, upcoming epilogue topic for 2019 is actually going to be discussing superhero video games.
Okay, I can't wait.
We're going to dive in using Arkham Asylum as our base and branch out from there.
I'm going to talk a lot.
I need to
about
watch
Arkham
it. There's a YouTube video of Macaulay Culkin and somebody else reviewing every Home Alone video game.
That's weird.
No,
That sounds
specifically-
fun.
it's
That sounds like
specifically-
a lot
I
of
actually
fun.
played the Game Boy one quite a bit.
No, it's specifically it's talking about how movie tie-ins to video games were and still are fucking awful.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he
Horribly
goes
awful.
through all the different ones. Like, this is my face is on every fucking one of these. This is me in this game, and this game is fucking awful.
I would be mad too. Imagine if you were one of the Ghostbusters and you played the Ghostbusters video game for the NES. You'd be so mad.
The first Ghostbusters game I played on was on a fucking Commodore 64. Thank you very much. What's where I had to figure out that the F keys existed because it said press F11, and I kept going F11.
Cute.
I was like 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were young enough that makes perfect sense to you.
I don't even know if the keyboard had an F11 key. I had the game and a Commodore 64 keyboard, And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, I want to play Ghostbusters. I like the movie. It's got a Slimer in it.
Now, to be fair, we had Spider-Man this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good
The Spider-Man
game.
franchise is the closest to good movie video games. But at this point, it's
Good
a co-
Marvel hero video game,
For
and
me,
that's
it's-
all we need. And it's not even Marvel heroes. I mean, we have the Arkham series.
See, the thing is, the Spider-Man's video game series. I feel like we're just fucking doing the epilogue now. It's just
No,
toward
we
this
should just
part.
put a pin in this
Yeah,
and come
yeah,
back
this-
to it because
yeah.
it's a future
I know
epilogue.
the exact argument I'm gonna make during
Yeah,
the show.
That's
Yeah.
fine. We have a lot to talk about here, so
So, lots of entertainment this year.
Level 3 entertainment news 2018.
all right, welcome back to the show, Adventures. We have a lot to talk about in entertainment news. I'm going to try and cover it all, but seriously, there was just a lot of stuff happened. So I guess we should start by raising
So
our
much
glasses. Carrie Fisher, here we go.
To the general,
To the general.
rise up.
Our princess.
All right. 2018 was an amazing year, despite what other online publications would have you believe, for horror. We had Suspiria, we had A Quiet Place, we had Hereditary kicking off the year, we had The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and The Haunting of Hill House.
Dude, yes.
Dude, horror was so good this year.
Horror this year was the most impressive thing.
Like, it blows my mind when somebody says, like, oh yeah, it really wasn't a good year for horror. Hell, there was a remake there was a remake of Halloween.
If
that
this
people
wasn't
loved.
a good year for
Yeah,
horror,
that
it
was on my
wasn't a
list,
good
like,
year
to
for
watch this
Marvel.
week. Like it's
Yeah. The fucking Purge got a television show that got renewed for a second season.
Yeah.
The Purge, guys. The Purge.
The Purge.
Cool concept, but like we didn't.
But
really
like
think-
TV show season 2?
Yeah, it's getting a second season. Like,
Here we go.
This was an amazing year for horror. Like it's so fantastic.
I believe also Ash versus the Evil Dead got canceled this
It
year.
did.
Yeah, it did, and it deserved it. But
And that's
we
what
also
I was
got
going to say another good thing for horror because it wasn't
Yeah.
very good.
But we also got Castle Rock.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Oh
like
my
fucking
God.
Castle,
Castle Rock. I drove through Castle Rock in Colorado.
Like it
That
blows.
is totally not the
like,
state that's in.
It's so.
But it was. I drove through a Castle Rock in
It's
Colorado.
so
Eat my
crazy
dick.
because like I forgot about Castle Rock till I was wrapping up the notes for all this stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, Castle Rock came out.
You know
this
what else
year.
was super good this year? Barry. Did anyone watch Barry? Barry was fucking awesome.
It's on my. It's like I have like the first 4 episodes. I just haven't because I
it's
know
so
I'll
good.
I know I'll finish watching it after that, but I'm just waiting for like my DVR's got the first 4.
Oh my god! Another one that I was ranting about all year: Sharp Objects.
Yeah.
You guys watch that shit.
Yeah, just get on
which one
that.
was our Sharp Object?
It's the HBO one. It has Amy Adams.
Oh yes, it's been on my to-do list.
Holy shit!
You
that
mentioned
show.
it because I was like, because
I
I,
mentioned it
wanted
like
to watch
5
it,
times.
and then you've mentioned it a bunch, and I'm like, I still need to watch that. And much like Barry, I've gone like, well, I've got like the first 4 episodes on DVR, and do not remember. Like, I've never had a chance to, because these are things that I need to sit down and actively pay attention to.
and it's hard.
I'm sorry, entertainment industry, you've made too many things that require my full attention span.
It's literally the golden age of
I have
television. It
a-
has been since like 2011 or something.
Yeah,
Probably
I ha-
since Game of Thrones started.
I have a limited amount of time, and I need to just diversify that time by playing a video game, listening to an audiobook, and watching a movie all at the exact same time. If I can't do all 3 of these things, I
you
feel like my
don't.
time is lost.
But you don't. You binge. You watched so many shows this year all at once. Maniac. Can we talk about
oh,
Maniac?
like Maniac was so good.
Did not watch it, but I forget.
should.
that.
Oh my god, Maniac's so good, and the director is going on to I can't remember what the next thing he's directing, but holy fuck, that list was like it was amazing. God, I
Also,
wish-
did we get like 2 seasons of The Good Place this year?
It's something like that.
well,
but
the
either
last
way.
one finished and this one started.
Yeah.
So the
that
correct-
was both this year.
Yeah.
So we finished last season and this season started. So it's like saying like Archie, we got 2 seasons. Yes, because the last season ended and this one started all within the same year. That's what happens with TV shows, Hector.
No, it doesn't. Not on best of lists because best of lists, the show happens once a year for like 10 episodes.
We also
The
have
Good
some-
Place is an exception to that.
We also had some really weird stuff happen this year in entertainment. Like, so last year Roseanne made a comeback.
Aww.
Tried to. It had like
Tried-
3 episodes
yeah.
that aired,
Yeah.
and I watched.
They had a whole
them.
season that aired.
Yeah,
It wouldn't, they only got to like 3 episodes. They only aired 3 episodes.
Yeah. Oh.
And then it was abruptly canceled no matter how much they aired because they can't show that whenever the person that's on the show
is racist.
Well, we knew that, but she just wouldn't kind of shut the fuck up about it.
She was on a lot of Ambien.
But
guys.
and while it was,
I've been on a lot of Ambien too. I just apparently drank all the liquor in the house and wandered around coloring things.
but while it was canceled, Roseanne in air quotes did get a second season this year, which was The Connors.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And
Is
it
It is so good. It picks
Yeah.
up where all right. So whenever I just because we never did this. Like I talked about things I watched this week.
Yeah.
I have never talked about this. I have been keeping up with the Connors since it started. I watched Roseanne. You put it on, I believe.
Yep, I did.
Because I was kind of wary, as like, she's kind of a. She's
It was
kind
a
of
show that I remember
she's
seeing
kind
as
of
a
batshit
kid.
nuts.
So
I watched it a lot as a kid. I can't imagine enjoying it this day.
I wanted to see what it was like now because I watched it all the time as a kid. And James put on Roseanne and I was like, oh, it's actually not. It's not too bad. It's kind of funny. And then it came. She wouldn't quit the fuck. She wouldn't stop being Twitter.
Yeah.
And it got canceled.
It was a theme this year.
It got canceled, but.
Right.
You could see that the everybody else had come back to do the show.
Yeah.
So there was a plot line involved. Like they spent time and energy and money. And then the Connors, like they were like, let's just see what we can do. Let's keep going down there.
Yeah.
And they made the Connors, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out. I tried the first episode of
Does
Roseanne.
anyone talk
Roseanne
about-
work without
Does it-
Roseanne?
yeah, does it work
Does
without
anyone
her?
talk about like, hey, where's your mom? Like,
No. All right. So the first episode of the Connors is them dealing with the fact that Roseanne's been dead for like 2 months.
Jesus. Oh, wow. They
But-
fucking went for it.
Oh, within the first 3 episodes, you find out that she died from having an opioid addiction.
Wow.
That she overdosed because she was taking OxyContin too much.
Wow.
No, the show isn't pulling punches. It's dealing, it's dealing with the oldest daughter's alcoholism and how she's now pregnant.
Well, the thing about the show, and this was the early show that I'm talking about, the reason that I didn't get back into Roseanne is because all of my memories of it are this really hokey, down-home, poking fun at white trash while also glorifying their lifestyle, and how really they're right, and they're good people.
No, that was always Roseanne Barr's shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
This
like,
isn't
hey,
that-
these trailer trash people, they're all right. And I'm perfectly
This-
fine with that sentiment, but it was always so lovely
There were
in a
no-
way that it shouldn't be.
There were
Yeah.
no politics
Okay,
involved in
so-
the original Roseanne.
Right.
There were politics involved in the remake.
All right, so one of the things
Okay.
that made the original Roseanne great was there was somebody who was a very
Good choice of phrasing.
a very good writer, who we don't necessarily like now because of sexual harassment stuff.
Yeah.
Named Joss Whedon, who was writing on the show. He did some great things for that show and made it very wonderful. Especially if you're a nerd and you really like nerd culture, that was
Sure.
definitely a part of the show before. This is before he was famous for anything.
Yeah.
He's not involved in this version, and you can blatantly tell that, or in the Roseanne version,
Right.
You can tell that the Roseanne version is what Roseanne ended at. It was her saying, "I want full creative control," and it was batshit crazy and made no fucking sense. And it was her political beliefs and her fucking imaginary world where she can kill off her husband and replace it with her real life husband, and that made no fucking sense. But
was
that's
the
the
thing
thing
that
that actually fucking happened in the show.
Yeah.
That's what was the new Roseanne. You could tell it was her, and it was the her show. And she became a product of modern civilization. She became a product of Twitter where you have to be outlandish. She was always, when you take an outlandish person...
Roseanne had always been telling off-color jokes
that's the thing,
because she was a comedian.
No, as a comedian, as a person who wants to push things, and
Yeah.
now you have a nonstop 24 access to just pushing things, and you have people backing you up on that, so you become more and more outlandish, and then you remake the show that kind of started that. You can't do the wholesome beginning that it had to be because other people were in charge. She now has too much control, and that control became
And that's what
the
I heard a
end of
lot
the first-
about the beginning of the new Roseanne was that it was very Trump supporter.
It was very much so.
Oh no, this was all right. So her sister, which has always been
Her
portrayed as
sister
kind of,
was the liberal, but the Connors were the Trump supporters, and they were all
no.
built
So
the
her
wall.
sister in the original show was always kind of weird and quirky and
Yeah.
odd, and
She was the Phoebe.
in the now Connors, she's still kind of that way, but it's way subdued. It's actually dealing with the fact that like maybe the guy she's dating is like ripping her off for a bunch of money and stuff. Like it's actually a legit plot line.
Yeah.
Whenever it was the Roseanne show for those 3 episodes, it was the look at the crazy liberal who says crazy things like people should have health care. And my best thing about the Connors coming out was in the episode where they explain how she died. When we were like, no, she died from a fucking
Opioid overdose.
Opioid.
Yeah.
She killed herself. And whenever they say that in the show, no, she killed herself. And that thing is a statement to also what Roseanne Barr has done
Oh,
to her
for
own
sure.
career.
Yeah.
She fucking killed herself. And it is her own fault for doing this.
I'm down. This actually sounds like a show I
And
should
watching
watch.
the actors and this storyline play out where you have to deal with that kind of thing, because it plays out not just in the Hollywood, oh, we're saying this is why this is over, but also
Right.
the actual death of the matriarch of a family is
Also-
the actors are doing such a fucking good job, and they a lot of them haven't acted in a very long time.
Right, if you think about like the character of Darlene and like from the original Roseanne, like growing up and getting pregnant and being an alcoholic, that I mean, how do you make a show that deals with the ramifications of your kids growing up poorly educated and without any options? I mean, if that's a show,
That's a show that is relevant.
aside from obviously
Right.
the what's the show that we watch?
Shameless.
Shameless.
Yes, yeah.
Aside from Shameless.
Wow, James with a name and doesn't even watch, has like never seen an episode.
Thank you.
But
It was
I mean,
good. You
it
could
was
catch.
I need to finish this
the
season.
creation of the Connors felt so relevant to 2018.
Yeah.
It was us dealing with this world that we live in politically, trying to shuffle out the bad stuff, keep the good stuff. I, in fact, remember when Roseanne, the reboot, was on the air, people were, and she was saying all these horrible things on Twitter. The reason that Connors exists is because so many people went onto Twitter and said, we would still watch this show as long as Roseanne isn't in
And you
it.
get rid of the crazy
John
bitch.
Goodman in anything and
Yeah.
I'll watch
Oh,
it.
oh no, seriously. All right, so my my life for the last I think 15 years has been massively influenced by John Goodman just being in things.
Yeah.
Like it culminated one night for me where I watched like 4 movies in a row and went, John Goodman's in all of these. Holy fucking, these movies are all amazing.
Well, we were in Colorado for obvious reasons.
He's a national
we watched
treasure.
we
Yeah.
watched The Big Lebowski, and yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, every Coen Brothers movie with John Goodman is just a fucking.
I almost
treasure.
bought some socks last night that were a picture of Bigfoot and it said the Bigfoot Lebowski. It was
Yeah.
Bigfoot wearing the. I was like, God damn
with
it! I
like a
kinda want-
robe and like sunglasses.
Yeah, I was like,
or
I
something.
kind of really
Oh,
want those.
that
I will
sounds awesome.
never wear them, but I want them.
I'd wear them every day.
So also in 2018, we had some weird stuff happen, like Marvel's Inhumans came out. I forgot that happened in 2018, but it did.
It's best that we forget.
It's best that we forget. But then Doctor Who got its first female doctor.
That's pretty cool.
I started it.
If I
and fell
watched
asleep,
Doctor
so-
Who, I'd be super excited.
I love
about it.
Doctor Who, and
The reviews are all glowing.
and we know that she's coming back for
Yeah,
season 12.
and I'm happy about that.
I'm on the so it's all done now. It's all
Yes.
been aired. There's no Christmas special. There will
There's
be
a
a
New Year's.
special, but that's fine. I don't fucking care. That's a Christmas special. We've bit worn out on Christmas specials.
Hey, the
honestly.
Sabrina Christmas special was wonderful.
I haven't gotten there yet. I've got. Netflix released like a fucking
They
a Christmas
did.
movie every week for like the past like I guess 17 months.
Okay, and so I get back from Colorado. I've been gone 5 days, and I have like a new season of Travelers, a Sabrina Christmas special, a new like Oscar-winning movie they're trying to hit me with before Oscar season starts called Roma.
It's Alfonso Cuarón, so I'm like, cool,
yeah.
awesome, thanks. I know I'm gonna love that.
Yeah, I'm 100% gonna watch that. There were like 4 other things that just like dumped themselves onto my. You should probably really watch this right the fuck now list.
That was the. Aren't you mad you went on a vacation somewhere else and didn't just sit here watching Netflix instead?
Exactly. It's like they knew I left, and they're like, "Here's what you missed. You should sit on your couch more."
You shouldn't be in another state getting high. You should be
That's
on your
right.
couch getting high and watching all this stuff.
Exactly.
We had one of the most amazing things that happened in entertainment this last year was Lucifer got canceled, and the fight went online immediately afterwards. The Fox show Lucifer was canceled, and people all over the Twitter sphere lit up Twitter and said, "Bring back Lucifer."
Fucking Lucifer is awesome. Okay, I know that we're past. Well, not really, because I mean NCIS is still a thing, but we're for the most part as a society past the police procedural.
Right.
But this is different, and it's awesome, and it's
Okay,
very
speaking-
sweet as
and
a show.
so
Speaking of
Lucifer
peace
gets
procedurals,
canceled.
I was gonna say, are we going to Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Not yet, but
Okay.
Lucifer gets canceled, and Netflix comes in and says, enough people said they want to see this, so we'll go ahead and make
We'll
a
do some
fourth season."
Lucifer. We'll throw some money at
Honestly,
it.
I think Netflix, in hindsight, so this is a year in review, I think Netflix is like, well, we're canceling Daredevil and fucking everybody else.
Let's get some Lucifer up in here.
We can buy like 7 Lucifers for that.
Also, let's not forget The Expanse got canceled and then immediately picked up by Amazon within like a day.
That is true.
It was.
This
I don't think
really
it was
was the-
48 hours before Amazon was like, yeah,
that was
yeah,
what-
thanks.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think, was 72 hours before it was switched over. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. I think NBC's like, yeah, we're doing that now.
Yep.
Think about how big of a deal this was back in the day when Scrubs moved from its a horrible final season into a new, even worse season, changing networks. It was news everywhere for weeks.
Yeah.
It was like they changed the networks. They went from Fox to.
Because it's only happened
what,
a few times in
ABC?
history.
Yeah,
But that is the norm now.
But
And
it's
now-
becoming more and more normal, and mark my words, we're gonna see the return of a lot of our Netflix characters.
Things that I'm okay with being the new
into
normal
Marvel.
is being canceled and picked up at other places.
Yeah.
New normal for that, okay. Other new normals, not happy with.
No, this new normal is good though.
And we
I
should
agree.
mention the fact that in 2018, Netflix Marvel shows got canceled.
All
Things
of
that
them.
were considered the most popular things on Netflix: Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, all of these things. got
Cage.
At the time, Daredevil's cancellation, it was the fourth most popular binged thing on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we're going to go down that route, it's important to note that Netflix has reached maximum capacity. They are not adding in any new members worldwide. That basically everybody who has a Netflix subscription has one at this point. Like if you want one, you have it.
Yeah.
They are not adding new members. In fact, they are starting to lose ground to other places like Amazon and HBO. People say like losing ground, they're also buying into those.
Yeah, but by losing ground, it's like I
They're
don't
not.
know.
They're not canceling.
Yeah.
The Netflix.
They're not canceling. They're
cancellations.
just not growing as fast.
They're not growing, and that's
they're
what I'm saying.
hardly
Is
growing
they've
at all.
reached they've reached maximum capacity.
So next year, and I read this today.
Netflix is actually losing money. Like
Netflix, they're not losing
stock is
money.
their stock is
The,
starting to go
their
down.
stock price is falling, but they're just raking.
They're not
in
losing
cash.
money, but eventually they're.
Netflix plans to make something like 90 movies next year in 2019.
The-
Not like actual theatrical production. We're talking budgets of up to $200 million to
Netflix
film.
original productions in January is 28 different seasons and movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of television shows and films. 28 original things are happening in January alone on Netflix.
Yeah, they're going.
And-
the original content is insane now.
Brooklyn
it's better
actually
than
makes-
any network has ever been.
Brooklyn makes a very good point. I forgot to put this in the notes, but this was a bigger deal than people
Oh,
thought
Friends?
that it was.
Yeah, Friends was a huge deal.
It was announced that Friends was going to be leaving Netflix, and the internet lost their collective shit for about 8 hours.
Couldn't we have
Yeah.
done that for Scrubs? Because when Scrubs left off Netflix, I'm
I
still,
know, I
I'm
want
still
Scrubs back.
mad. I'm
Right.
still. All right, we can get rid of Friends if Scrubs comes back. That's what I'm saying.
But no, within 8 hours of that announcement,
Or
like
30
Netflix,
Rock.
Netflix is like, yeah, we'll fork over the money to keep it on there.
We
Yeah.
got a regular
Oh yeah,
finish
no,
to
no,
it,
and
it's
that was
fine.
the thing. That was my favorite part about the story. Is they're like, oh yeah, Friends expires at the end of December, and everyone's like, no, and they're like, oh, you don't, we'll keep it. How much? 28 million?
Yeah, I got some loose
Hold
change.
on.
Here,
Hold on. We just canceled Punisher. It's fine.
Yeah.
we're gonna cancel Punisher in like a week. So
Yeah, I was
you
going to
can
say, we
have
haven't
that money.
announced that we're canceling Punisher.
Yeah, no.
Like,
we have that.
we
We have that
internally can.
earmarked. We have okay. You can have the Daredevil money for next year that we already earmarked here.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fine. We know where the next one's coming from as
Yeah.
well. Or correction, 2, because Jessica Jones is finishing
You know
its
what?
filming.
You know what we should do? Not we, but like the collective we, the royal we, as a people.
The society of
The we-
society of
I
we.
told you I watched The Big Lebowski last week. So as the royal we,
I mean,
if
you
we
were
just
high in Colorado. You had to.
move Marvel properties onto the Disney streaming service, that's fine. And then just murder the DC streaming service and let Netflix produce DC comic book shows.
Or
Right.
let CW just keep making all
so
of them.
that actually brings me into my next couple points about the year in 2018. Thank you, Hector.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big problems in 2018 that happened is that streaming services became very bloated,
They became the battle royale of entertainment.
right? It no longer became, I have an Amazon and a Hulu account. It is now I have an Amazon account, a Hulu account, I've got a Netflix account.
I got Amazon
now,
Prime,
now
I got
DC is-
HBO, I got Stars, I got Cinemax even.
Yeah, DC has got DC Unlimited. Disney's about to come out with their streaming service, Disney Plus. We're going to have all these other things that are just building and building and building. And you see this if you're a person who even like remotely follows the news and they're like, so people are starting to figure out that having all these streaming platforms is a bad idea. The reason
Yeah.
that people torrented movies
Yeah.
and television shows 5 years ago was because we had nowhere to watch them. Then we got Hulu and Netflix, and everybody said, you know what? That's good. That's what I want. Hulu and Netflix. You know what? Amazon's around the corner. I'll pay for that too.
I pay for Amazon Prime anyway,
Right.
and they just gave it to me with Amazon Prime. I'm good with it.
Right. But now we're getting 15 million other streaming services, and everybody's going, oh, okay, nope, this is a cable package all over again.
Now, here's where I am right now. Like, I've got my Netflix, I've got Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
and I have HBO Now because HBO Now just has some great shit on
Yeah.
it.
I mean, Room 104 is going on right now.
Yeah, Room 104 is on my list right now, and so I recently started watching The Leftovers, and the show is fucking amazing. I'm only on like episode 4.
Welcome to it.
Holy
It's so much
shit,
fun.
it's good. But I mean, when Marvel releases theirs, that's going to be 5 streaming services
Okay,
that
so-
I have to keep track of.
Yeah.
This is something I've been spending a lot of time thinking about. And the original idea of cord cutting was great because it was, I'm going to go to just an online subscriptions because the best of the best is online. Netflix has great content that's on there. They just started producing their own original stuff. Amazon, I get free delivery for everything I order off Amazon and some cool like movies and TV shows that they have that,
and a lot of
Netflix
cool movies
doesn't.
and TV shows.
And then HBO came out and you're like, cool, Game of Thrones, having to have a cable package. Love that idea. And the problem with the cord cutting idea was Amazon and Netflix and HBO and everybody else figured out, fuck, if we make really good original content, we can all have our own streaming services.
This isn't a bad thing.
It's not a bad
I want
thing,
this to
but
happen.
The idea of cord cutting has now become, well, I was
The
spending
idea of service subscribing.
yeah, I was spending $100
I need-
for mediocre crap, and now I'm spending $150, but all of it's fucking amazing.
But it's all
Come on.
incredible content and commercial free.
But I
Here's-
want you guys to not keep this fight going for too long because this is something that we need to be
not a
discussing.
fight, it's more just-
This
Yeah,
is
no,
in
no.
the 2019 episode. We will be talking about the streaming wars.
in the year looking forward, talking about the streaming wars, you know what? Tony is exactly right. What this has led to is the production of more high quality, impeccably watchable content than you can watch.
yeah.
Video games needs this.
Mm-hmm.
We need what EA is doing with their Origin Access. We need this across the board.
What
We
Microsoft's
need to
doing
be-
with their streaming service.
We need to be
more of
running
that.
to these services to just soak up the amazing content they're producing and being like, "Fuck, I'm subscribed
Honestly,
to Xbox and Sony and Good Old Games and
You know,
fucking
honestly,
EA
at this point, so Humble
and
Bundle,
Epic now."
because Steam doesn't really have a version, but Humble Bundle's there for you pay a monthly fee and you get a bunch of fucking bunch of cool ass games.
Some of them are cool ass. Some of them are.
But those are individual games. We're talking about a subscription service like EA,
Right.
like Microsoft, which is currently kind of really only two that is
pretty much.
you buy in and you have access to whatever you have. It's the Netflix
have the
of
whole
games.
thing.
You have the whole fucking thing. Any game you want to play, and we need more of that. We need more of that. Not buy our game for $60 and buy all our loot boxes
Right.
and buy all our shit. We need to. I'm gonna pay $10 and I'm getting all of your shit.
'Cause
and
you know
will
what?
have to make good content.
You know who
We
I'm-
want to buy into your shit.
You know who I've not been mad at all year? And no matter what you say about, like, they raised a few prices or now they're trying to direct you with ads, like, when your episode's over, they're like, maybe you might like this. And they're like, that's an ad. It's like, it literally next to it is the next episode button on whatever you were watching. And about their original content, I'm not mad at Netflix. I'm not mad at Amazon. I'm not that mad at HBO now. I pay them for their content and I can immediately look at it and click play and just get the show.
I'm a little bit mad at Amazon because they haven't figured out that I don't want the 30-second ad for football on Thursdays, which happens even when I'm watching, because I was watching the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and every single episode had an advertisement for some. It was either
Yeah,
good burp.
good
It's been
job.
a while since I
Good
burped
job.
on the show.
All right, well, welcome
Well,
back.
I'm having Red Zeppelin, man. This shit's getting to me, I guess. There was either for the not 1984, the fucking Nazi show.
Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High
It was
Castle.
either ads for Man in the High Castle or it was for Thursday Night Football on Amazon, and it was that.
I've never
It was
once.
that NFL, like, I'm going to scream at your screen. I'm like, I'm watching a television show about a Jewish woman in New York in the 1950s. I do not want some dude yelling at me about football right now. These are very opposite things that I'm going for.
That's so
Yeah.
weird. I haven't seen a single commercial on Amazon Prime ever.
All right,
Have
guys.
you?
So no, I have not. No. All right, so we need to start wrapping this whole thing
Okay.
up, but I've been saving the best for last because it is pretty fucking obvious, and maybe it's just because we are the surly nerd, we are a bunch of fucking geeks.
Yep.
This was a fucking year for superheroes.
It was.
We kicked things off with Deadpool 2.
which we're ending with Deadpool 2.
Which we're ending with Deadpool 2. How weird is that?
Which I need to go see in theaters again because it's the PG-13.
I want to see the new Deadpool. That's just the old Deadpool in PG-13 in theaters.
But all proceeds go to a cancer foundation.
That's right, and I'm down with that. Yeah. It's like selling me a ticket to Evo with my DLC purchase. Yes. Even if I didn't want it. Yes.
Yeah,
let's
there you
do
go.
it.
Just buy yourself in. We had Ant-Man and the Wasp happen.
Dude, I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right? Like, how fun
That was the most fun. Like,
Yeah.
the way to subvert expectations, especially after what might be our next talking point, Infinity War.
Not quite
Just
there
to
yet.
I was going to say we
roll-
have to because the ending
Well,
of
we will,
Ant-Man
but we'll
was
talk-
Infinity War.
Right, but we'll talk
get
about
there.
Infinity War probably
I think
at
it's
the
more
end, but
important that we actually do talk about...
Ant-Man was so much fun, and it was so...
And while it was fun, it was not nearly as important as I believe our next one, which is going to be Black Panther.
Black Panther, absolutely.
Wakanda Forever. Black Panther literally established, and this is just me, established the world that Infinity War happened in.
Yeah.
Before Black Panther, Infinity War wouldn't have made sense. And I love that that's how that happened. I love that they literally produced the movies side by side to the point where if you look at a certain interview and on-set stuff from like the Blu-rays and the special features and stuff, you see the characters from Black Panther being borrowed to be on the set of Infinity War and saying, hey, do you have... Like, you're a tribe, you're out here standing out. Do you have anything you can yell? And they're like, yeah, we do a whole thing in the other movie. We're going to yell
Can you
this.
just do that over here?
We're going to yell this and this. We do it there. We're going to do it
We
now.
remember our
Like, we
lines.
were
It
going to
was
do
yesterday.
it. We were going to do it anyway. You didn't have to tell us. And I love how close those movies were. But when we talk about Black Panther, I mean, we've already gushed over it a little bit.
Yeah.
But...
A few times.
We need to talk about
Today
the
alone.
cultural significance of Black Panther.
It changed the
no,
fucking Oscars.
And that's not even what I want to do. Like I'm right here with you, and I'll do it with you. But we've talked about representation. We've talked about how important this movie was, obviously politically, and obviously to everybody to be exposed to something like this. But can we just talk about how good of a movie it was?
Oh, God.
Like it not only accomplished
As a
everything.
film, it's fucking good.
It not
It's
only
a good
accomplished
movie.
everything it set out to do, but it really took all the people who might have, and I know personally 2 people who said this to me to my face about Black Panther before it came out. It's like, hey, I got tickets for Black Panther, and they're like, I'm not interested. And my first thought was, ooh.
Right.
Why am I
What?
friends with you? Because I know where that thought is coming from.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know that you've seen every fucking Marvel movie from like Iron
you're
Man
like,
forward,
eh,
and someone told you about a black superhero, and you were like, I might miss that one. It's like,
Like, that's how I feel about when it comes to like DC's making a new thing, and I'm like, even though
yeah,
as good
like
as
if
Wonder
someone
Woman
said
and
Aquaman movie,
now, I'm
and
like-
you were like, I don't really care about that one, I'd be like, that's fair.
and you're like, and then you go, it's starring Jason Momoa, and you're like, maybe now, like I,
mean,
don't
that's
know,
kinda
I
cool.
still don't know how I
Except
feel about that.
Your perception is based on that movie might not be good. Their perception is based on it's not about a white dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and the
I get
worst
that.
part is
And-
the people who said that to me didn't even know it. They didn't understand where their reaction was coming from. They just said, this one doesn't seem interesting to me.
Right.
And you understand immediately, and you're like, why? And when they have a hard time putting it into words, or they say something like, I didn't grow up with that hero, it's like, really? How much fucking Ant-Man and Thor did you read growing up?
Right. Exactly. But no, it just
Weirdly
broke.
more Thor than Ant-Man because he's just in more things.
Yeah, but I mean, like Black Panther broke through so many barriers.
And the people
And
that
it
I
was just-
showed both of those people that I mentioned the movie, and they fucking loved it, because it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
No, it is,
No,
and it's honestly, it culturally changed us. We now are having a possible new addition to the Oscars for popular movies
I hope-
instead
yeah,
of
yeah, for-
instead of just best movie, now popular movie.
Right, because they needed a reason to stop. They needed a reason because they kept snubbing
mean, it
Marvel
took-
movies. They did it before
It
that
took
with.
them Lord of the Rings. It took them until the third Lord of the Rings film to win a Best Picture Oscar.
So-
So obviously, every time Lord of the Rings came up, it's like this was the best movie. Of the
a little
fucking
bit
year.
of Oscar history. Ever since George Lucas, they've snubbed ILM, which is a George Lucas studio, because
Yep.
they never wanted George Lucas to win an award for Star Wars because they thought it was too much. It was a kids movie. It's for kids. We can't do that here. This
Yep.
is about art.
Right.
This is about our art form.
It was very pretentious.
And it kept ramification.
Oscars are a bunch of old ass people who are stuck in their
But
fucking
when you
ways.
think about Star Wars, like 70s Star Wars, the ramifications ran all the way through to Transformers, and I'm talking like Transformers 1. I'm talking like
no, the CGI in that fucking movie is
best
fucking
visual
brilliant.
effects award that year went to some dumb shit and not to Transformers.
No, and as much as I have a problem with the movie Transformers as a
ILM,
film,
this-
but ILM made it look fucking good. I saw robots turning into robots. Like, it
was
looked good.
incredible. And they never won an award. And any big CG movie since then that has kind of been like the Academy's stance, any movie with just the most amazing CG you've ever seen is basically for kids, and we don't like it. Right. So what they're doing with this new like popular movie award is giving them a reason, giving them an excuse to no longer snub these movies because they have their own category.
Yeah.
It's like, and you know, if old men are going to be old men and do a bunch of old men shit and be like, I don't like CG, but here's all the really good shit and here's the best one. You know what? Okay, so soon they'll all die and we'll have new members. That's how I feel about the U.S. government.
2010 has been the year of me going, I literally can't wait till old people die.
But Black Panther did so much,
Oh,
and it was
so much.
just...
Think about what it did for Marvel villains. Think about how many
right?
Marvel villains we could name that were great. Loki, done. List over.
Yeah.
We had,
Yeah.
all right, in this year, we had 2 Marvel villains that the audience at the end of the movie went, well, fuck, they were kind of right.
Right. And the thing is, like,
Between
we
Black
moved
Panther
from...
and
Killmonger.
between Black Panther and
We-
Avengers. I was just going through the names of the movies.
yeah.
We got to this point where we're like, well, the villain wasn't wrong.
Right. And we start with, like we've had decent villains in the past. Like, when we've had cool people for some of our people to fight. Loki was great in
Yeah.
Avengers. Ultron, but like,
Interesting.
can
James
you
Spader was fun.
Can you name by name a ton of Marvel villains?
Red Skull was okay.
Can you name a ton of Marvel villains between like Avengers 1 and Black Panther that are just like, yeah, that guy?
Yeah, no.
No, their name.
Baron Zemo.
Yeah, that guy.
Dude, fucking Captain America 2 was he was awesome. Like, it was so good.
Baron Zemo was really a fascinating character, only because
He was a fascinating
he got to
character.
be a villain from the shadows.
Yeah, but he never came off as a villain. That was the whole thing.
I mean, think
even
about-
when he was in his top villain moment, giving his monologuing villain speech.
Honestly,
he
Guardians of the
never felt
Galaxy
like
and
a
Guardian of the
villain.
Galaxy 2, while are great movies and
Oh, the
fun,
villains are
They're
terrible.
weak.
yeah, no, even Ego, fucking, which is a cool idea
Right.
and brilliantly done, is not on my
Not
top
to discount
10
at all,
list.
Kate Blanchett
Basically everybody's Iron Man villain is
in
horrible.
Ragnarok was
She was good.
an incredible villain. Right in November of 2017, right up until Killmonger, and then she went from like, yeah, that's a great villain to like, yeah, she's pretty cool, but like,
Right.
obviously,
Killmonger's awesome.
And I guess
here are
that-
all of her flaws. Killmonger was right, kind of.
But that brings us into our kind of final thing for entertainment in 2018.
Which it should
and
be.
And that is Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
That was a thing that fucking happened.
Did that happen?
I mean,
It feels like a dream.
I know.
It
I
feels
was
like
there. I cried a
it's
little
like,
bit.
Remember that like 45 minutes when Al Gore won the like 2008 presidential election? That's what Infinity War feels like to me. It feels like, oh, good, we're fine, everything's great, it happened. And I'm just waiting for someone to like sweep Infinity War out from under me and be like,
Don't
nope, no one
don't
has
worry.
nice things.
The Russo brothers do have the second half of that movie coming out in 2019.
God, I can't wait for that
So we will possibly have that happen.
And we know, but we know what happened because we have Captain Marvel in March, and we were going to have Infinity A4 in May, and they moved it up to April. They really want us to bang these movies. They really want us to see like this one, and then 2 weeks later this one.
I mean, I would like to bang Captain Marvel, but that's a different
well,
story.
and Brie Larson, yeah, you just line her
I just
up.
feel like when people have said in the past, like, superhero movies are just superhero movies that are for kids or whatever, you take
then they
something
probably didn't see Black Panther.
like you go and see something like Black Panther or Infinity War, and you go, no, these stories have like merit and value. They have a villain who isn't just a cookie cutter like monster of the week kind of villain.
Mm-hmm.
Over
And
the 10 years of Marvel films, we have seen the evolution of our villains.
Yeah.
We've seen Marvel's film villains go from Iron Man 1 and the Incredible Hulk, which were, do you remember the villains? No, you don't. Nobody
No.
fucking cares.
one was the dude, and the other one was
a dude.
The other dude.
A dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't give a shit. You remember Iron Man. You remember the Incredible
Iron
Hulk.
Man.
That's what you remember.
Yeah.
And then we get to now, which is our villains are so fucking good. They're basically the DC villains. We care about them more than we care about the fucking heroes.
And think about, like, specifically Killmonger and Thanos.
It took 10 years to get there, but we got
Killmonger in comic book form was never as interesting
Oh, hell
as
no.
he is in the movie. And Thanos, and forgive me, James, because I know
Thanos
you're a huge
was
fan
never-
of Thanos.
Thanos was never
but
this interesting.
I feel like movie Thanos had a lot more going for him than comic book Thanos. At
Simply
least
by changing what his reasoning for doing
Right.
what he did.
his reasoning
became
and
more
Josh
fascinating.
Brolin's acting
Yeah.
are what made it that way.
Yeah, talk to me about
I
Josh
never-
Brolin's acting ever, and
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just gonna.
I never before Thanos when I read him in the comic books is like he's just a douchebag and he does douchebag things for douchebag
Well, he was the
reasons.
villain. You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Hela from Thor Ragnarok, the comic book Thanos.
Yeah.
He was like, you know what? I am just destruction. I cannot be killed, and I'm going to end everything. And then you find out
'Cause that's my purpose.
and then you find out it's all because he has a crush on death, and then you're
Yeah,
like,
which is cool and all, and I
it's,
get that. for the
yeah,
comic book,
it's not super
fine.
cool. It's
But
a bad
in the-
motivation for murdering the universe.
I don't want to counterpoint this because it's an entire other sub episode.
That's fine.
We can fight about Thanos later, but he did make improvements for the better when they changed him to the film version.
Yes.
Film version
I
of
agree.
Thanos, and again, Josh Brolin's acting within that writing, that context of changing the character, made him way more relatable.
Well, he went
to
from
a point where we all went, well, Thanos is right.
Right. Well, that was the thing. Like Thanos in the comics, as far as I'm aware, was like God King Thanos, and Thanos in the movies.
Well, there's Farmer Thanos, but that was after.
He's a,
Right,
he's a
right.
tactician. He's-
Right. But,
Yeah.
but the Thanos in the movies was like, I have a terrible purpose that I have to achieve.
Right.
Almost the same as Zemo in Civil War. He's like, I'm going to do this thing because I feel
I'm
like
going to
it's-
do this, and I'm going to
it's
die. and
fucking
going to be bad.
necessary, and everyone needs to see this. Like nobody gets it, and I need to show
That
them.
is exactly what Zemo did. He was
Yeah.
like, people, these superheroes need to be exposed.
Yeah.
Like, and they need to
And that's
be,
again, that's the reason I said
Yeah.
he was a continuation. When you started Iron Man, and you go, cool, so it's just another version of Iron Man, but looks crappier.
Right.
And then you get to where we started having like Baron Zemo, and when we have Thanos at the end, you're just like, holy shit, our hero, our anti-hero, or our villains have evolved to the point where they're anti-heroes.
Right.
They are no longer villains.
Right.
They are just as justified in their actions as the hero, and completely, and for the audience point of view, legitimate in their reasoning behind all of their actions.
And then people made this point a lot, and this is what the one thing that I really take home about Age of Ultron is right before Age of Ultron, I think, or maybe earlier that year, we had Batman versus Superman. And if you really look at what happens in Batman versus Superman, it's basically like 5 9/11s. Like I'm not even fucking kidding. Like buildings all over a major metropolitan area just fucking collapsed
Technically,
because
two metropolitan areas, because apparently
no. This is Batman versus Superman, not no. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Man of Steel.
I
That's
was
my
gonna say,
fault.
I was saying,
I'm
Batman
thinking of
vs
Man of
Superman
Steel.
is specifically we
You're
find
right.
out that Metropolis and Gotham City are in the same bay.
You're right. I misspoke. Let's not get into that. But in Man of Steel, like the entire city is destroyed by these two aliens fighting, and it's basically brushed aside as a side plot while Superman fights the bad guy.
Yep.
So you had Age of Ultron, where they spent the entire last half of the movie trying to save civilians,
Let's talk
and
about-
that literally spread forward into all of the movies after that.
Yeah. Spider-Man: Homecoming literally happens because of what happened in the Avengers.
Yeah. So does, Civil War happens because of what happened in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, it all just bleeds forward into, like, yeah, I'm a survivor of Sokovia, and I'm going to fucking kill you because you killed my family by not being careful.
So what I'm hearing is that we are really excited
Well-
about the Marvel movies that are coming right around the corner, but that is all for 2019.
2019, the
Quicksilver
year...
caught as many as he could.
I would like to say special thank you to all of our adventurers out there who have been tuning into this over the course of the year.
Thank you all so much.
Indulging in all this nerdy stuff that we've got going on.
We know you have
appreci-
better things to do.
We appreciate all the feedback we get from you. We are going to be on a holiday break until the 7th. When we come back,
Sorry, everyone needs a couple weeks off. And
right.
like,
Okay,
we-
so next Monday is literally Christmas Eve, and the Monday after that is literally New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing stuff.
yeah. That being said, we're going to be back
But we
on the
love you.
7th. I am going to be active on all of our social media accounts, so you can go ahead and reach out to me, talk to
We'll
me, all
still
that good
post stuff and
Yeah.
things, but new episodes are delayed until the new year.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the last time
And
this year you're going
when
to
we
hear
come
our lovely
back,
voices.
instead of just coming back with the news, what we're going to be doing is much like we did with this year. We're going to be all of our hopeful thoughts
Right.
coming into
what we
2019.
want for 2019. Yeah.
So
For
until then,
2019.
That's what I want for 2019. Is for 2019
and some 19-year-olds.
Oh no, God! Why do you have to make it weird?
all right, Tony, where can they find us and not talk about those things?
They should definitely talk about both of those things to us at Twitter, which is at the Silly Nerd, Facebook.com/SillyNerd. Info@thesilly.nerd.com is our email address. SillyNerd.com is our website. There's a donate button on there, articles to read and some shit. There's Twitch.tv live Monday at 7:30, except for until the 7th. On Twitch.tv/thesilly.
I'll probably be streaming some Soul Calibur. And
Yeah,
some
I mean,
other
we
stuff.
might do some streaming in between then. And there's a donate button if you want to donate during that. We're also Twitch affiliates if you want to give us points during the show. Hector got some points tonight.
I got some points.
You got some points.
Yeah.
Broken gave you some points.
Thank you, bro.
I think that's our new
Thank you
thing.
so much.
We should make a game out of getting points.
We can
whenever
make a
any-
drinking game out of getting points. I bet you people donate then.
Yes,
Right?
we should drinks for
Oh
points.
shit! 1,000 points. 2 seconds.
I may have watched. When I talked about like outside the show, like what do you do last night? I was like, oh, I
Right.
watched Cam.
Yeah.
and it's a great movie on Netflix. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But the idea of doing things for points, in that case, real money.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we should totally do a game that we get
It's
shit-faced
almost
drunk
like
where
having
people pay
a
me
ride-along advertisement partner to pay for your bus trip in Maniac.
Yeah.
Everyone watch Maniac.
for. Watch Maniac. It's so good. Also, watch Maniac sober because it's going to get very confusing.
You can watch it either way. Okay, I can't recommend this enough.
Can we do
and
like a
haven't-
last recommendation?
Well,
we
okay,
haven't-
everybody gets one last recommendation for
2018?
We've already said Maniac. Fuck.
We've talked about a lot of them. I'm going to, and even if you've fallen off, even if it's not your bag, this year's season of BoJack Horseman was one of the most impactful things that I watched all year.
Okay.
The show has been incredible since it started. It's incredible now. But the thing about this year is that it was incredibly topical in the way that it talks about the way that we as Americans, which we're basically the Florida of the world, the way that we treat
American man.
the way that we treat our celebrities, in that we forgive them for horrible shit, and even when they don't want to be forgiven, even when they want to be held accountable, it's not up to us or anyone to hold them accountable for it. They just go on living their lives, and they have to deal with that, and they impact on the psyche and the medium and the people who watch it, and also the people who make it, is so important to the way that we make media. And that was all the theme of BoJack Horseman this season, and it was wonderful, and everyone should watch it.
Tony, one recommendation.
I'm going to go down the Netflix train. It's actually going to be The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh man,
It was
Everyone should watch The Haunting of, even if you don't like horror.
It was the best series I've watched this entire year.
Yeah.
It was the best acted, filmed, directed, everything about it. And it's an amazing horror story, which showing you the horror that is mankind.
And it will scare the dick off you.
Yeah,
Even if you're a girl, you'll grow a dick and it'll get scared off.
Yeah.
Tony kind of stole mine, but I think that if you want to really go into,
How could I steal it if I went first? You literally said for me to go first.
I already had it in my head. So, I mean, here we
You stole
are.
that out of his brain.
I really do feel like
Netflix
if you
wins.
if you want some good horror and are willing to give it a shot, really go and watch Hereditary. It is genuinely terrifying, and yes, it can be a little pretentious at times, but I feel like as a kickoff to the year, it was an excellent piece of horror cinema.
Yeah, the thing about Hereditary, I mean,
Is
when you're watching it, I was never not, and edge of your seat is such a cliche. I was never not basically sweaty and intense the entire movie.
yeah.
I spent the entire movie with like my arms clutched across my chest, going, "Oh my god!"
and it's definitely a movie if you've got a dog that likes to hang his head out the window while you drive around somewhere.
They'll never do that
will not
again
let
in
them
your
do
presence.
that ever again.
Cool. I mean, you may have. I haven't seen it, so I feel like
You
it's
should
a spoiler.
fucking watch that movie. It's not a spoiler.
I literally have it.
This is
sitting
literally
in my
not a
room
spoiler.
right
there
now.
are 0 dogs in this movie.
There are no dogs in the movie. And
That
you
was
should
a metaphor
absolutely
for
watch-
something else that happened.
You should
Okay,
watch that
cool.
movie tonight. But seriously.
All right, that's everything that we have for the 2018 year in review. Thank you to all of our adventurers out there for sticking with us. Really do appreciate it. Hey, we got on Spotify this year.
Yeah, we were on Spotify.
Yeah.
And
I
we're-
listened to
Guys,
us on
more important than
Spotify
that,
today.
I fixed our email.
You did. And episode
Kinda.
episode 300 is right around the corner. We will be changing the format of the show.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a very positive change. A lot of great things are going to be happening. So
And if you
look
don't
forward
like
to
it,
that.
fuck you.
But
Well, not
until
yet. Maybe everyone likes it.
until 2019 for Tony, this is James.
For James is Tony.
And I've been Hector.
Adventures. Good night.
We'll see you next year. I decided to change it.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
no, I didn't know. I listened. I literally like this morning. I got to work and I was like, I need to listen to last week's episode, and I popped it up on Spotify, and it was great.
So yeah, because
They do notify content
Oh,
better.
do they? Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
No, they let me know every time you post a new episode, and
Great.
I'd like my Spotify isn't connected to my Facebook or
Spotify
anything.
now lists based on because of my Facebook friends and stuff. It actually tells me that the
Surly Nerd?
yeah, Surly Nerd and Carrie, because I'm not subscribed to this on Spotify. I'm sorry, I'm not going to download to my phone every fucking week.
Right.
I've already got it on the computer.
No, that makes sense.
But like Carrie's and ours between all of our friends is our like most downloaded podcasts, along with some of like the NPR stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No,
Yeah, like, it
it's
straight
good
up
stuff.
suggests my show to me at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, no, my Spotify is specifically not connected to my Facebook because my Spotify account got hacked through my Facebook, so I'll never connect them again.
Right.
So
Just use LastPass and make your password this fucking long.
right,
I know
so it
Google
has
Play was inconsistent,
Yeah.
but that's all we had. So
yeah, so it has no
Well,
idea.
we had
they're-
everything else. We
It has no idea they're
RSS
connected.
reader.
So when the Surly Nerd came up, I was like, "Yeah, let me subscribe. Let me just see it. At least I'm one more person to count."
Sure.
When the podcast comes out, and now every
Now we
time
can actually
there's
see
a new
those stats.
episode, it goes, "Hey, here's your podcast."
wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And they're faster. I think they're Spotify is
I
faster
think they
than
are
iTunes.
the
It
fastest
is
one,
It
actually.
is. They are the fastest one.
Yeah.
Because iTunes updates basically every 12 hours. It's not because if I update this one right now, it will hit at like 4 in the morning, and
Right.
the next one's like at 4 in the afternoon or something.
Spotify would probably
Spotify's like
update
in an hour.
immediately. Yeah.
Spotify because they're just pulling from an RSS feed. They're like, we got dinged.
Yeah.
We'll just put the thing on here.
Why wouldn't we?
Well, that's why they also have like their approval section where you have to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
approved for them. Is it because once you're in the system, they just let you just
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
because they literally like, oh, you are legit. Your RSS feed fucking works.
Yeah.
Here you fucking go.
Let's pump you
and I get
through.
why Apple does the way they do it because they're Apple.
Well,
and
they're
they wanna be a little
curated,
more-
blah blah.
They're supposed to be curated,
All
which
right, I'm gonna
everybody's
wrap
allowed
up.
on
Thank you
it.
very much for sticking with us, Brooklyn. I appreciate it and I love
Thanks
you.
for hanging out,
Thank you,
Brooklyn,
and thank you for
the
tipping.
end of the
Thank you
year.
for tipping Hector.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I 100% appreciate that you love my opinions.
Again,
Very
I
few
think
people do.
All right, so you need to watch Cam first off.
I'm gonna watch Cam. It's on my list.
Like,
but
I'll-
there's so much good shit that. Okay, so I'm watching the fucking Leftovers.
Cam's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm watching the Leftovers, and I started a new season of Travelers, and so like just getting those put
Okay,
together.
so that's
is
the thing.
a big
is,
deal.
Travelers in America is listed as a Netflix original. It's
And
not.
I know, it's not.
made in Canada.
It's a Canadian show.
Because last season 2, I watched as it came out in Canada.
But it's such
according
a
to the
good
internet.
Show.
No,
It's
it
such a
is good,
show.
and
you know
I'm-
what I love
I'm
about
in the
being
middle
a
of it right
Canadian
now.
show and not a Netflix original is it's not going to get canceled like a Netflix show.
Yeah, no, it's gonna say Netflix original, and it's gonna keep coming out.
Well, you know, Better Call Saul is listed as a Netflix original in the UK.
Oh,
Because
they
that's
pay-
how it
they
airs.
They help pay for
Yeah,
it.
they don't get AMC there. They get Netflix, and Netflix has Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Same with Riverdale.
Really?
Yeah.
All the CW
Nice.
shows.
All the CW shows come out as Netflix originals.
I like
Not
this.
in the US.
I like this idea of
CW is Canada.
what's it when relatives fuck each other and they shouldn't?
That's incest.
Yes, I like this incestuous idea of all the studios are so embedded
You like
that
incest?
when
Oh,
it comes to when it comes to my TV shows, yes, because it means they can't go away.
Live to Twitch right now that you like incest, just for the record. Just
I mean,
for
You
the
guys
police
got
report.
blocked.
they knew.
Yeah.
He talked about 19-year-olds like 10 minutes ago. I'm 34. A 19-year-old was 0 when I was 15. Jesus Christ.
Was zero.
0.
Brooklyn's right. It's called Wincest for a reason.
God damn it.
All right, I'm signing us
now
off.
going
I need to
outside.
sign off. I'm sorry. All right, bye, dude. Catch you later.